Hello! Today we're going to be playing 1000 Empty Light, a solo adventure in the Mothership tabletop RPG. 1000 Empty Light is created by Alfred Valley. I'm darthvegan, and we're going to go on a solo adventure. If you've never played Mothership, or if you've never heard of Mothership, Mothership is a tabletop RPG set in a sci-fi cosmic horror universe, but I'm not going to go over how to play Mothership. We're going to talk about it as we go through the adventure. This is a solo play, so there is no game master, just me. I'm the game master, or as it's called in Mothership, the warden, and I'm also the player. And so we're going to be using a narrative style of play to come to our conclusions on all of our roles and things that we do. And I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. Depths kill. Center yourself. Personnel are advised not to proceed past this point if they have heightened sensitivity to darkness, tight spaces, marine wildlife, peril, bodily harm, or extreme solitude. Issued by the Hazmos Corporation. This is the 1000 Empty Light TEL-022 UPB-154 Manual of Operation for solo operators. Now, something I really like about this, just from the get-go, is that this adventure is written from the perspective of the company that we are working for, Hazmos. The entire manual comes across as a in-game manual, so it's a kind of breaking the meta, breaking the fourth wall, you know, telling us all about the adventure at the same time, keeping 100% within the voice of the game. Very cool. I like that a lot. So here is a message from the director of Hazmos, Shale Louvet, who is the director. The backbone of our business is the status quo. Reliability, resilience, resourcefulness. These are the virtues that Hazmos provide as the backbone of the settled cosmos. In the light and in the dark, the blaze and the chill, the peaks and the depths, we are the quiet constant keeping the lights on. Nowhere is this better exemplified than in our force of lamplighters. Your hard work to maintain the most challenging sites under our purview is not taken for granted. TEL-022, the affectionately named 1000 Empty Light, is considered one of the most unique sites in our portfolio. This year marks the 5th anniversary of being awarded this service contract. I am confident that no other corporation could provide such uncompromising attention to its singular demands. Embrace the purity of your profession. Whatever the environment, the job remains the same. Restore power where there is stasis, light where there is darkness. You carry the torch of an esteemed club of professionals. Please join me in taking this moment to remember the lamplighters who have fallen in the line of duty at TEL-022. And you can see there's a sticker placed over these lists of names of previous lamplighters. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit so you can see maybe a little better. There's obviously names underneath this white sticker that says no recorded fatalities. There's lots of fatalities, so I think that's really nice. I like that a lot. Alright, so here's a little bit of information about the planet that we're on. Unadopted Planetary Body 154, abbreviated UPB-154. It's uninhabited and classed as hostile for the purposes of colonization. TEL-022 is the only known artificial structure on the planet. The high level of electromagnetic interference in UPB-154's atmosphere renders secure planet-to-craft communication impossible. No SATCOMs are to be made from TEL-022. TEL-22, say that 10 times fast, is constructed from reinforced steel assembled in 5 sections, spanning a length of approximately 1 kilometer. The bore of the tunnel is roughly 50 meters in diameter at its widest. Impressed current cathodic protection is in place due to the extreme salinity of the water on UPB 154. In places, the tunnel narrows where the structure has corroded and improvised repair has taken place. Access to the tunnel is via pneumatic caisson at the western end. This descends 70 meters to the entrance of Section 1. Due to the depth, the work site is classed as an increased atmospheric pressure environment. All workers are required to undergo hyperbaric intervention. Controlled compression to the working depth occurs at the top of the caisson. Sections 1 through 5 are considered unlit and unpowered. Lamplighter's are required to move through to the eastern end of each section to activate the backup generators in the respective control booths. Memocom modules with hand crank generators are located at either end of each section for the purpose of leaving voice-recorded maintenance reports. See procedure, page 3. So you can see this is a map of the facility. We're going to come down this caisson, which is basically a cylindrical tunnel that starts at the surface of the water. And then you go down and then you can enter into the facility from that caisson. This is a real thing that they use. Caissons are real structures they use to build things underwater, like foundations of bridges and tunnels and other things like that. So that's pretty cool. And then I guess we will extricate ourselves from a secondary caisson on the other side of this facility. Our objectives are to restore light and power to all sections of TEL-022 and return to the western caisson for airlift. Any additional objectives specified in clearance, page 6. Okay. So the background is that the main generator at TEL-022 is permanently out of action, and the backup protocol is in place. The 5 sections are designed to be able to function as self-contained units in the event of a site lockdown, and so each has its own backup generator. Power outages, however, are frequent. Without power, the tunnel is at risk of corrosion and structural deterioration. Please note, to ensure safe pressurization, the doors to each section will remain locked until the previous section has been powered up to a minimum of 10 minutes. The eastern caisson is out of bounds. Follow best practice guidelines. The areas, caisson, and sections 1 through 5, each contain 2 Memocon modules, one on either end, for maintenance report playback and recording. Due to the communication limitations on UPV 154 and pending future implementations, the recordings are held locally to each area. So our workflow is to enter each area, access the Memocom module at the entrance and consult, do a visualized overview of the area, a transcript of report made by the previous lamplighter. We will use an Oracle system while navigating the control booth at the far end of the area, and we will do that to reinstate power and lighting for area and record the maintenance report using the Memocom module. We will check for depth complications, consulting the panic reference as well. So the Oracle is a system generated by this particular module that allows us to play without a warden, play wardenless, play solo Mothership. Oracles are pretty common, I guess, in solo TTRPGs. This is my first time to do a solo TTRPG, so bear with me as I try to navigate the complexities of playing against myself, or otherwise you could state that in another way that might get me censored. And the panic is a reference to one of the mechanics in Mothership. But in this particular module, I think we have to panic after each section for whatever reason, which is a little strange for me. But I don't get it in reference to how the rest of the Mothership is played, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. A high-value asset is situated in TEL-022. As outlined in your non-disclosure agreement, it is forbidden to discuss this asset or the circumstances of its containment with anyone unless permitted by your Hazmos security coordinator. Do not interact with the high-value asset. Now, I'm gathering so far from this that Hazmos may not be the owner of TEL-022. In fact, I guess it is not. They said we earned this contract somehow through Hazmos to be lamplighters and help maintain this facility. So I don't think Hazmos owns this station, this underwater station. It is instead, we're just being paid to keep the lights on, so to speak, and do maintenance. All right, so this is the Oracle system. Maintenance in TEL-022 follows the Oracle system, and they made it into an acronym here, which is interesting. But this basically tells you the workflow of the game. How do we play the game? When we enter spaces for the first time, when circumstances require it, or simply if in doubt, conduct a visual check of your surrounding environment, making reference to the semiotic standard. And I'll show you that in just a moment. Then you will decide on an appropriate course of action, making use of your skills and equipment where relevant. We will act where we will attempt our course of action. We will conclude by determining the outcome of the action and whether follow-up action is required. And then we will leave evidence and record near collisions, accident precursors, and any identified hazards using our incident and near-miss form. Additionally, we can record a maintenance report at the next Memocom module you encounter. Research shows that completing a cursory scan of an average size room takes an average of 3 minutes times the current personnel stress level. Again, stress level is a mechanic of the Mothership game. Okay, so our mandatory training, industrial equipment, recommended training, mechanical repair and jury rigging. Personnel entering TEL-022 must undergo a medical examination to assess their fear, sanity, and body response. Medical staff will need to confirm lamplighters possess a minimum stress estimate not exceeding 2. These statistics must be noted on your character reference. In addition to your class loadout, you will be provided with a flashlight, a rebreather, and a dive gauge. And so, please report for duty with an up-to-date character reference. So here is our character reference. My character's name is Devon. He identifies as a he, him. He is a Teamster class, which means he's like a blue-collar worker in the Mothership universe. His stats are here, and the way Mothership works is whenever you try to do something, you have to roll against your relevant stat, and you roll 2 d10s, and if you roll below your stat, you succeed. If you roll above your stat, you fail, and you gain a level of stress. Likewise, whenever something happens to you, you have to make a save. You have a sanity save, a fear save, and a body save. Once again, you roll 2 d10s. If you roll below your save, you succeed. If you roll above your save, you fail and gain stress and or wounds, health, damage, whatever. My health is 20. I don't know why it's just showing a 2 and part of 0, but it's 20. We have 0 out of 2 wounds currently, so that's good. Our stress starts at 2. You always start at 2 stress when you're playing a game of Mothership. As a Teamster, once per session, I can get advantage on a panic check, which is good. And also, when you're doing your rolls, if you get a double-digit roll, and it's a success, then it's called a critical success, and then something good happens. If you get a double digit and it is a failure, it's a critical failure and something bad happens. Up here are my skills. I have industrial equipment, which is one of the requirements, but that's okay. That's one of the Teamster skills anyway. That gives me a plus 10 on any check that I use that requires that skill. I have 0G training, which gives me a plus 10 as well. That helps me move around in space and in a vac suit. I have rimwise technology. That just means I'm used to being on the fringe of society. That gives me a plus 10. You can sometimes use that for certain combat roles and things like that. We also have mechanical repair, which is an expert skill, which gives me a plus 15 in that as well. Skill training is something you can do if you live through your campaigns. You can get training on skills and increase your skills through a percentage. It's very expensive though and time consuming. My equipment is a vac suit. It gives me an armor of 3. The way the armor works is it is damage reduction. So if you take less than 3 damage, it blocks that damage from hurting you. If you take more than 3 damage in one hit, however, it destroys your armor value. We still have the vac suit, but it will no longer provide us armor. We also have a flashlight and a trench shovel. Trench shovel is my personal trinket, and we will use it for part of my backstory as we go, if that comes up. And I also have a red gear patch on my vac suit. It's just a patch of a red gear. Its significance will also be revealed as the story progresses. I have 110 credits, which is not good. That's why I'm taking this crappy job, because I need some money. All right. I do have a revolver with 6 rounds. It provides me the 1d10 plus 1 damage. And I have a crowbar, which is a 1d5, which is a d10, and then you subtract 5, and that's your damage. Okay. This is Devon Valentine. And here is a picture of Devon. It's him in all his glory, younger guy. Okay. So that's, we're not going to go through this. This is like a little bonus cheat sheet thing that you can do, but we're not going to worry about that. Okay. The greatest hazard is carelessness. Okay. So there are several hazards here in TEL 022. Depth complications. Working at depth presents considerable risk of decompression sickness and nitrogen narcosis. As stated in workflow, personnel should regularly check the panic reference to effectively manage depth complications. At the very minimum, this should occur when transitioning between sections and when facing repercussions from incidents and near misses. So decompression sickness, aka caisson disease, the bends. After reaching working depth, uncontrolled depressurization can cause decompression sickness. Susceptibility varies between individuals and is unpredictable, gives these symptoms confusion, memory loss, fatigue, and so forth. You can use a hyperbaric chamber to get short-term treatment of decompression sickness. Also, nitrogen narcosis. Breathing air under pressure can cause narcosis, resulting in reduced mental function. The effects of narcosis may present serious risk factors in an industrial environment. Symptoms include impairment of judgment, loss of coordination, etc. And here's an example of someone before exposure and then someone under a narcosis episode. You can see that they can't draw the same thing reliably. Some of the other hazards here in the station: unlit areas. Without power, each section of TEL 022 is completely unlit. Personnel should use Hazmos issued flashlights to navigate between control booths. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to do. I need to write down that we have this additional equipment: a dive gauge, a rebreather, and another flashlight. So I'm going to go ahead and do a rebreather and a dive gauge. Okay. And then also we have 2 flashlights because I already had a flashlight and we got an extra one, so that's fine. We're good. There also is corrosive seawater. Prolonged exposure to the seawater on UPB-154 can cause degradation to personal equipment, exposed skin, and the working environment. There's been reports of intruders on the site. It's an attractive target for scrappers looking to resell metal parts and machinery. If you encounter intruders, clearly state that they are trespassing on private property and will be prosecuted. Otherwise, keep your distance, stay vigilant. Be prepared to report on their details on the next MemoCom module you encounter. Cornered intruders may become violent. It is not my intent to fight these intruders. If we do encounter them, I'm not security detail. I'm just maintenance, right? So this is the stats of an intruder if we do come upon them during our adventures. Flooding may occur locally in sections. Rebreather equipment is provided for navigating submerged thoroughfares. Prolonged submersion greatly increases the chance of issues related to corrosive seawater and depth complications. I do have this rebreather, however, I also have my vac suit. My vac suit protects me from the dangers of space and or underwater. The vac suit, however, does give me disadvantage on any speed rolls that I make because it is cumbersome. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that if you take 0G training, I think it might, it does away with that disadvantage from the vac suit. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's how I'm going to play it. So if we look at the survival guide rules for vac suits, it says include short range comms, headlamp, radiation shielding, decompression within 1d5 rounds if punctured, disadvantaged for speed. My oxygen inside of that lasts 12 hours. And if we come down to the skills for your skills somewhere. Here we are, 0G. Practice and know-how of working in a vacuum, orientation, vac suit operation, etc. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about that. I feel like if you have 0G training, you're used to working in a vac suit, and so you shouldn't get that disadvantage. I don't know, maybe. Well, we get a bonus, so maybe not. Maybe not. There are also spindle graft crabs inside the station. This is their stats. And some other things. I don't want to get spoiled by reading all the different things that we can possibly come across. So, okay. There are some specialist equipments here inside the facility. If we come across any of these, we will come and read the description of that. This one I do find interesting, a flechette gun. To prevent potential structural damage, the use of traditional firearms has been tightly regulated. And here I am bringing in my revolver, but whatever. That's it is what it is. All right. Your Palmarine class craft airlift will drop you at the offshore platform adjoined to the caisson. Check surface level generator, enter the caisson, and progress from section to section with caution. Before drop-off, familiarize yourself with the reference sheet at the end of this document. Do not proceed beyond this point unless adequately prepared. We are prepared. Serve God, honor the corporation, but first, maintain the light. I guess that is Hazmos' company motto. All right, here is our letter of last resort, form number 9L. Nothing's to be written on this sheet except the date and signature of the sender. Sentences not required may be deleted. If anything else is added, the letter will be destroyed. This is how Devon is going to fill this out. My dear parents, my circle parents, I must leave you. My total, oh, this is for admin use, so I don't fill this part out. My total loss of life, loss of faculty, or transfigurement is not in vain, for I have departed doing what I love. I want to say thank you for everything. I will always be with you. Signed, Devon Valentine. And the date. All right. So we are getting dropped off here at Quezon West by our shuttle. It is not recommended to stay on the exposed offshore platform for extended amounts of time due to the likelihood of force 10+ gale conditions. Welcome to TEL-022. Please ensure the entrance is properly sealed before proceeding. The new mate helper unit will guide you through the compression process. You may experience some discomfort as your body adjusts. Whilst you wait to reach working level pressurization, please consider completing a Letter of Last Report 9L using the form provided in your TEL-022 Manual of Operation. We just did that. After pressurization, you will be guided to the personnel lift. Descent to Section 1 takes approximately 200 seconds. Do not use the freight lift. The holding area at the base of the caisson houses an emergency hyperbaric chamber, washing station, and supply lockers for personal protective equipment. Section 1 is accessed via a decontamination corridor and sealed door. Check your panic before proceeding. Okay, so this is the first part of the actual mission here. So what we'll do is we'll be dropped off here at this platform, and we're going to take the caisson elevator down this 70 meters to this room. This is the floor plan of the room. This is the small elevator we're going to be using. The freight elevator is this big one from the caisson up above. I suppose this in the corner is the hyperbaric chamber with some supply lockers and things, and a washing station down here that we can access if we like. And then we will go to B here, and I suppose we will turn on the generator for this room and then proceed to the next section. All right, let's do it. So we come on to the caisson here, and we are going to be helped by the new mate helper, which I suppose is a robotic device of some sort. And they will guide us through the compression process, and we will come on down the caisson and descend to here. And the first thing we need to do is check the MEMCON console for this room at our arrival. It is dark. We do have our flashlight, so we're going to observe around us, and we're going to read the MEMCON entry of the previous lamplighter. Now, something interesting about this is this module came with some actual sound files for these readings.
West Caisson A.
I've got a bone to pick. If you leave a form for people to fill, maybe make sure you leave a working pen. Just a suggestion. Must be a pressure thing. My wife and son will have to go without reading my impassioned parting words. As you may have established, I have arrived at the caisson. I'm soaking. The waves nearly carried me off. It's daytime. Well, you can see that from the timestamp, but it's dark out there. Might as well be twilight. And there go my ears.
I guess he's descending
West
there.
Caisson B.
Quite the welcome party down here. The lift doors opened and I was greeted by hundreds of dead crabs. Took me a while to be sure they were all dead, what with the torch casting shadows. The ground is damp and loose. I don't trust the floor on the west side. Stepping through these crab bits sure was unpleasant. The hyperbaric chamber is sealed shut. The supply lockers seem empty. Typical. So here we are. The way the others talk about this place, you'd think it was a haunted house or something. The sound down here does do weird things. They'd probably piss themselves. And then there's this groaning noise. I would bet that that's the water outside. You know, it could almost be peaceful if you close your eyes. I'm proceeding to section 1. Wait, gotta make my panic check. 70 meters, it says in the manual. Either that's just plain wrong, or my gauge is out by a lot. Can you hear that?
All right, cool. So a few things. We will use this description of the caisson to ask the Oracle questions about how we should proceed. So we know a few things about the caisson here, and I'm just going to note them in my log here. It's just pen and paper. We know that the pressure causes his ears to feel compressed. That's not even noteworthy. That's just is what it is. There was hundreds of dead crabs, which is interesting. So I'm thinking maybe this station is not fully enclosed. Perhaps it has a tide pool or some other method for things to go, maybe submersibles or something to go into the water outside without having to go through an airlock. So you can use something like a tide pool or something to pressurize a room, and then you can just enter the water and then go outside through that methodology. I learned that from Subnautica. So maybe there's something like that, and that's how these crabs are getting into the room. There's obviously not a tide pool in this particular room, but maybe somewhere in the station there is a tide pool. We'll take a look around and see what we can find out. So also he said the ground is damp and loose, and you don't trust the floor on the west side. So I'm going to say the west side of the floor is loose. And he references using a torch. I'm guessing he is of British descent, and references flashlights as torches. The hyperbaric chamber is sealed shut, he says. So we might ask some questions about that. And the supply lockers are empty. Okay. And then he said he heard some weird noises, a groaning, and other things. Could be just the water. Could be something else. Could be the more crabs, right? Who knows? We'll try to do some investigation and find out. All right, so I'm looking around with my flashlight. I see, obviously, right outside the elevator, I can see the hyperbaric chamber taking up the corner of the room. I also see a little doorway. It's not an actual door, it's just an entryway into a little alcove that has some sinks and looks like stand-up showers and things. And then off to my right is row upon row of lockers. Look like lockers in a typical locker room, you know, top shelf, bottom shelf. Some of them appear to be empty. Some of them are open. Some of them are closed. So maybe we'll do some investigation about that. So the first thing I want to do, looking around with my flashlight, and here is the map here. So you can see the hyperbaric chamber, the washroom, and then the lockers. And then I guess this area here is going to be the generator and the memo con where I can record my statement. So first thing we want to do is we want to roll. I'm going to go to take note. This is page 26. I don't want to be spoiled by the next section. So here are the combined systems semiotic standard, which is how we do our Oracle thing. And it's kind of a little bit hard to read. But basically what we do is we ask the Oracle a question, and then it will give us a response based on our roll. It's a D50 roll. So we'll take a D100, and then we will subtract 50 from it. And it will be our answer. And it could be a yes, could be a no, could be a yes but, or a no but. and then we can proceed on with whatever information we glean from that. I'm going to be using D&D dice roller for my rolls, just so that we can have a nice place to see the result here, and you can tell that I'm not cheating. I don't think I get any bonuses on these rolls unless I'm using a skill to do something. So I think just looking around and referencing the Oracle, I don't get any bonuses in those particular things. So the first thing I want to do when I'm looking around is I want to check, are there still hundreds of crabs in this room? Are there still hundreds of crabs in this room? So I'm going to roll my 2d10s. That's d100. Okay. I rolled a 9. All right. So move this over here. So I rolled a 9. No. Hello, future Darth Vegan here. I did realize when I made the 2d10 roll that I should have taken the result of each of those and made the first digit the tens digit and the second digit the ones digit, and then get my D100 roll from those 2d10s. But for whatever reason, I just accepted the first. I just accepted the sum of the two as a result instead of doing a D100 basically. So I do that for the entirety of this first case-on room, and then I realize my mistake, and I start doing it correctly after that. But forgive me, I don't know why I was just caught up in the moment, I guess, and just eating what they fed me, so to speak. I do realize my mistake, and I do correct it in the future, but I do realize I quote-unquote cheated myself during this first room. I'm basically going to always get no answers because I'm always going to get lower than 20. And so it kind of works for me and against me in that situation. But anyway, I learned from it, and we'll move forward, and thanks for watching. Interesting. So the crabs are all gone. So there's no crabs. But it does say there's some interference or an idea of confusion or obscurity. So for there's no crabs now, referenced by the previous lamplighter. So I'm a little confused about who has been here to clean up these crabs. Someone must have done it, or either that or some creature came in and devoured them. But it's a little unusual that there are no remains even. So I'm going to ask the Oracle, do I see any remains of like crabs, like a broken shell or maybe a loose leg or something laying around that might indicate something ate them? Let's roll a 7. 7 is no. But there is an explosion risk or a deconstruction volatility. Interesting. So while there were no crab parts around, there does seem to be evidence of some damage in this room. Like some sort of damage has been done. There's chinks in the walls where the metal has been scratched and dented, looking like something happened that was kind of violent in the removal of the crabs, perhaps. All right. Well, I do want to take a look at this hyperbaric chamber. So I'm going to walk over to the hyperbaric chamber with my flashlight. I'm going to shine it around, take a look at it. Is the hyperbaric chamber still sealed? I rolled another 7. Wow. Okay. It is not sealed, but there is an explosion risk of deconstruction and volatility. So the hyperbaric chamber, like the rest of the room, has been severely damaged. It looks like something broke it very violently. Like maybe there was an explosion, maybe it overpressurized, or maybe the oxygen inside exploded. There's some scorch marks around it. and it looks like there's pieces of the hyperbaric chamber around on the floor. I could make a check and see if it's salvageable, if it's something I could fix. But it is unusual. So we definitely won't be able to use this to decompressurize ourselves or to pressurize ourselves if we get violently decompressed. So that's not good. So the hyperbaric chamber is destroyed. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. If we walk over to the west side of the room where the wash area is, I'm going to just test out the floor there. What is the condition of the floor? Is it still feeling loose or does it feel intact? So let me say, is the floor intact in the west side of the room? Another 7. Wow, I'm rolling 7s. 7s of all varieties. So I got a 1-6, a 5-2, and now a 3-4. This die roller really loves its 7s. So no, the floor is not intact. In fact, it has been explosively destroyed. And I'm thinking maybe the explosion from the hyperbaric chamber is what damaged the floor further, and maybe perhaps that's what damaged the room. But what happened to all the crabs? We don't know. We don't know at this time. So the floor around the wash area has been severely damaged in an explosion. And we could spend some time trying to fix it. We are mechanics, but I'd have to have parts and things like that. So let's check the supply lockers and see if there's any spare parts or supplies that we will not be able to use. So I'm going to go ahead and roll again. This time I got a 15, thank goodness. Is there anything in the supply lockers that we might be able to find? 15. No, but there are some foodstuffs. Okay, so there's no supplies, but I have found a few MREs, so a few packaged meals. I didn't bring any food with me, at least it wasn't indicated that I brought some food, so I think I might take a couple of MREs with me just in case we're down here for an experienced amount of time. How many MREs did we find? It doesn't say. Let's just roll a 1d6 and say how many did we find? We found 4 MREs. Okay. So that should be enough for 4 meals. You can live for several days without food, but obviously we would get disadvantage on things if we're hungry. And so we want to make sure we have enough food for at least this trip. So I'm going to say if we're very, very strict on ourselves, we could probably get by with 1 meal a day. Hopefully we won't be down here multiple days, but I have no idea. So, okay, that's great. So we did find some MREs in the lockers. All right. And some weird noises. I'm going to give it a listen. And I'll kind of walk around the room and listen at the walls, listen around. Do we hear any weird noises? 18. No, but we do see something involving high voltage shock or deception. Interesting. So while I'm looking around, hearing the noises and whatnot, I do notice that the power generator for this room was also damaged by the explosion from the hyperbaric chamber. And so it is my duty as a lamplighter to turn on the generator for each room for the preparation to whoever uses this facility. We have no idea what they do here or why they're here, anything like that. In fact, Hazmos doesn't care about that. They just care that we were told to light the darn thing up. We're going to light it up, by God. So now we're going to do our first skill check. We're going to do an intellect check, and we're going to use our mechanical repair skill, which is a plus 15. So I need to roll 2d10s, and I need to roll below a 56 in order to repair this generator well enough to relight the room. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and roll 2d10s. And bink. an 8. Wow, that's a good success. Now, it was a 3 and a 5, so it wasn't 2 4s. It wasn't a double. It wasn't a critical success, but we did successfully repair the generator. So now the generator has been repaired. I'm going to go ahead and record my findings in the memo con. So there were no crabs. However, the walls were dented and damaged. No crabs, no sign of crabs at all in the chamber. The hyperbaric chamber itself was completely destroyed. It looks like from an explosion, over pressurization perhaps, or maybe oxygen ignition or something. The floor around the wash basin area was also severely damaged. There doesn't appear to be water coming in, however. Maybe I should check for that to see, but there doesn't appear to be any water coming into the room. Also, we found a couple of 4 MREs in the lockers, and we were able to repair the generator in the room, even though it was damaged, presumably by the same explosion that damaged the hyperbaric chamber. Okay, awesome. So we got the caisson area has now been cleared. So what we're going to do now is we need to go back to page 26. And I guess we need to actually, hold on. I think we need to go to our panic here. So before we leave the room, we need to roll a panic check. I don't know why, but that's part of this module, so whatever. We will roll a panic check, and the way panic works in Mothership is typically you will roll against your stress. Here, my stress is currently 2. As we do things in the adventure, our stress will rise and decrease. And normally in the game, when something really severe happens, you have to make a panic check. Like if you see when your friends die, or if you see a cosmic horror of some sort, or you get severely wounded, or something supernatural happens, or your ship catches on fire, or you have a hull breach, things like that, you might have a panic. Well, in this case, in this adventure, we have to make a panic check after every section is cleared. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to roll a d20. And if we roll above, and unlike the stat checks, we have to roll above our panic. So if we roll anything above a 2, then we do not panic. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll our d20. We rolled an 8. Great. That's fantastic. So, no panic. If we had panicked, we would become dizzy. And we'd have to ignore critical successes. I assume for the rest of that section. Maybe for the entire adventure. I'm not sure. Alright. Cool. We have successfully done that. So we pass out of the caisson. It is now fully lit. And we are moving into the concierge. Section 1 houses the security facility for the site, located on the south side of the tunnel, including an armory. Note, access is restricted to personnel with firearms experience. I don't have firearms, but I am rim-wise, so that helps me a little bit. Directly east of this is the monitor room. Reports indicate the closed-circuit monitoring system that runs throughout TEL-022 has been compromised. Storage units line the north side. Office cubicles take up the bulk of the floor space for Section 1, and meeting rooms, including an executive suite, form the majority of the remaining space. A rudimentary kitchen area is located towards the end of the section. Do not view, download, or disseminate documents or systems for which you are not authorized. Check panic before proceeding to the next section, as always. So here is a map of Section 1. We're coming from A here, from the caisson. We can see our armory here in this location. And then below that is the kitchen area down here. And then we have the cubicles taking up the majority of the floor space here. And then this executive suite up here And then the generator and things over here by B. Interesting. Oh wait, directly east of this is the monitoring room. This is the monitoring room here. Okay. Interesting. Oh no, wait. This is the kitchen area. Sorry, this is the kitchen area. This is the executive suites. This is the monitoring room, and this is the armory. And what is this? What is this place? Outside of the tunnel, including an armory. Okay, so maybe this whole entire thing is the armory and the security section. Then you have the monitoring room, executive suite, and then the cubicles, and then we have a kitchen here, and then the generator here at B. Okay, let's take a listen to Section 1's memos and see what the previous lamplighter has to say.
Section 1A.
Don't enter the cubicles.
Oh shit.
I mean, unless you know what you're doing. My eyes were still blinking from the light back in the Kazan, and I stepped right into it. The place is completely booby-trapped. I managed to move out of the way just in time, but I think I got a bit of a haircut. I've explored this half of the section. There must be 100 rooms in this place. I took a look at the armory. Still seems partially stocked. There's a makeshift tunnel leading off the monitor room. I shone a flashlight down there. There's nothing but darkness at the end of that, so fuck that.
Yeah, no kidding.
There is a ton of long, dark rags hanging down from the ceiling over the middle. A forest of the stuff. There's a note pinned to the first row of the cubicles that says, "Look all you want, but if you take, we'll know." No clue.
The
I
heck?
spotted scaffold planks rigged against the north side over the top of the cubicles, so it's time to move on.
Section 1B.
Just, is it there? I'm here. Just about. I left the last module and there was that groaning again. Closer this time. I saw something reach through the last door, so I booked it to the armory. I had to smash open one of the lockers to get a revolver. I can't stand guns, honestly, but... Shh. Slow down. I was nearly up to the cubicles when it came in. Another crab, but this thing is a giant. That screech. It's fast. Long, pointy legs. I managed to scramble up onto the scaffold walkway, but it got me right in the back. I pulled the boards along with me as I went. He came up to the cubicles, but no further.
Oh no.
I think it hears me.
Heck no.
Well, it hasn't got me that bad. I haven't switched on the power yet. I might just take a breather, you know? Hear that noise? What is this place? I saw those papers in one of the meeting rooms. What is Project Hellmouth?
Oh snap. Okay. So, a lot going on in this room. A lot going on. Alright, so section 1. The cubicle's booby-trapped. Okay, so we know that. We also know that must be 100 rooms in this place. Wow. Okay, the armory is partially stocked. Okay. And there's a makeshift tunnel leading off of the monitor room. Interesting. What the heck could have made that? Who knows? That sounds weird. I don't know if I'm... Okay. I don't even know what to think about that. Ton of long, dark rags hanging from the ceiling over the middle. A forest of the stuff. So, Is it like laundry? Are people doing laundry? So rags over the cubicles. What the heck is going on here? That is bizarre. The note says, "Look all you want, but if you take, we'll know." So there was a note on the cubicles. Interesting. And then scaffold planks rigged against the north side over the top of the cubicles. A lot going on here. And then he said that he heard a noise again, that groaning again. And then he saw something reach through the door, presumably the crab, the giant crab. I only assume that whatever he saw reach through the door was the crab, which sounded like it attacked him. And then he got up on the cubicle scaffolding. Interesting. And then he found in the executive rooms some documents about Project Hellmouth. Sounds like they've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay, let's do some investigating. So there's a lot going on in this room. The cubicles were trapped. He found a revolver in the armory. There was a tunnel in the monitor room. There were rags over the cubicles. There was a note on the cubicles. There were scaffolding planks on the cubicles. And he saw something reach through the door. On the other side was a giant crab, because then a giant crab did come out and attack him. And then he also searched the executive suite and found documents around Project Hellmouth. So that's very interesting. All right. So I am going to roll the D100 here. I'm going to refresh this right quick. We're just going to go to D100. And I'm going to add in a D20 here. Then we'll also add in our 2 D10s for our checks. Actually, no, that's a D100 as well, so I don't need this. All right, so we're going to roll our D100 first to check. First of all, we're going to take a walk around to the armory, since that's where we first come in. So if we go back to page 27 here, we're coming in through coming into the armory. And we're going to shine our flashlight around, see if we can see, are there any lockers with weapons in it or anything. So, is there any lockers or obvious weapons inside the armory? An 86. So 86 minus 50 is 36. All right, so 36. Yes. But cryogenic chamber stasis cessation. Okay. So this is all very generic, so you can kind of use this to craft your story. I'm going to say cessation means, yes, there are some weapons, but they are all either out of ammo or in disrepair. Like they can't be used in some way. So there are weapons in the armory, but they are all in disrepair. Which is okay. I do have my revolver. Alright, so the first thing I should have checked, though, is there any evidence of the giant crab? Is there any evidence of the giant crab? So 55 minus 50 is 5. Giant crab, no. But the possibility is that he went through that tunnel in the monitor room. There is evidence around the tunnel that something large squeezed through that tunnel there. So the giant crab may have gone in the tunnel. So I guess I'll go over and shine my flashlight in the tunnel. Ugh, I really don't want to, but do I see anything with my flashlight in the tunnel. 20. 20. No. But there is evidence of alien forms or unfamiliarity, novelty. So I do see evidence of something unhuman in that tunnel, which tracks. I could go in and explore it a little bit better, revolver in hand, but that's not my job. I'm not here to hunt crabs. I'm not a crab fisherman. I am here to turn on the lights. That's my job. Turn on the lights. Just turn on the lights. Devon, just turn on the lights. Okay. Let's make our way on over past the to the cubicles. Are there any traps evident on the cubicles? 42. Yes. Spillage, negligence, leakage. So whenever I approach the trap area, the cubicle area, there was a rigged trap, a bucket of acid that sprays out from a trap there at the entrance to the cubicles. So when I start walking up, I see this acid spray out. I'm going to make a save to try to get away from that acid. I'm going to try to dodge away from the acid. So I do have a speed of 40, which is not bad. Don't know if I could use any of my skills to add to that. Probably not. I could. Oh, my 0G. Yes, I can use my 0G skill, which is my vac suit use. I'm going to add that. So I have to beat a 51. But I do have disadvantage because I'm in a vac suit. I think I'll just stick with the rules. The rules say disadvantage when you're in the vac suit. Doesn't say anything in the 0G skill about doing away with that disadvantage, but it does give me a plus 10. So I have to roll disadvantage on a D100 and see if we beat. So I got a 28 and a 54. Ooh, mama. I really need 2d10s though, so I can see if I get a critical success or a critical failure. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I do need 2d10s. Yeah, so I can see if I get critical successes or failure. I'll go ahead and keep the 54. I don't want to have to re-roll. Well, I failed. So, mm, 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 mm. Okay. Well, we'll just take the failure. But from now on, I'm going to roll 2d10s and add them together. So in this case, I would have gotten a 67 and a 41. One of which is still a fail because I have disadvantage. So we'll just we'll call it and say I failed. So not only did I fail, so that means I got a stress for a failed check. Now my stress is up to a 3. I also need to take some damage from this acid. I'm going to say the acid is a 1d4 worth of damage. I'm just saying that out of the blue. That's 3 damage. Luckily, I have an AP of 3. So the suit absorbed all of the damage. It wasn't greater than 3, so I think I still have the armor. But at this point, my armor saved me there. So that's good. Oh, greater than or equal to their AP. The armor's destroyed. Dang. Alright, so I don't have armor anymore. My armor was destroyed by the acid. That's too bad. That's too bad. I'm just going to put damaged. I'll have to, at some point, repair that to take a look at that. Okay, so so the cubicles are indeed still trapped, and so do I still see the rags hanging over the cubicles? No, that's going to be a no. 6, no. Slip hazard, uncertainty motion. So a lot of the rags look like they have slipped off of the rafters. They're now laying around on the cubicles. I'm going to take a look at these rags and see what they are. Are the rags clothing of some sort? 69. Minus 50. 19. 19. Steep suddenness change. No, they're not clothes, but they look like something that are used frequently, like for cleaning or for wiping up spills or something along those lines. So, interesting. So there is an acid trap on the cubicles, and the rags have fallen down, or some of them have fallen down, are laying around, look like for cleaning or for cleanup. Is the stuff on the rags blood or bodily fluids of some sort? 31. Yes. Biological spoilage hazards. So definitely is blood on the rags and gore. So maybe they use these rags to clean up the dead crabs in the previous room. So interesting. Interesting. Do I still see a note on the cubicles warning about taking things? 29. While I'm looking for the note, I do find it, but whenever I find it, I hear a skittering, a screeching, a groaning. Some of the same noises that the other guy found out. So I'm going to say, take a look at the door. Is there a crab leg coming in the door? 41. Yes. And he's screeching that horrible screech. Great. So the giant crab is suddenly rushing into the room just like it did with the other guy. So, yeah. We're going to do, since we don't have a warden and we can't really play out things at the same time, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll initiative. And to roll initiative, we're going to roll 2d10s. But instead of taking the total, we're going to say we got a 12 here. So we're going to roll 2d10s. That's speed. That's our speed check. We got a 12, so we passed. And we want to go to the giant crab's entry and look at the giant crab's stats. He's also going to do a check. Oh, here it is. Gigantism. Okay. His instinct is 30. So he needs to roll lower than a 30. So I'm going to roll for him. 2d10s. I rolled a 12, so I succeeded. He rolled a 27, so he also succeeded. But my score was lower, so... Alright. So I was able to run away from the crab, so I created some distance between myself and the crab. I'm going to go ahead and use my revolver, and I'm going to take a shot at the El Crabo. I'm going to roll 2d10s against my combat, so I have to get lower than combat. I do have rimwise skills, which give me some combat, fighting critters and whatnot. So I'm going to add that to my combat. I have to roll lower than a 45. Roll lower than a 45. So I got a 95. Holy smokes. Oh, Jeebus. That's a fail. At least it's not a critical fail, but that's a fail. So I expended one round of my ammo from my revolver, took a shot, and missed. So I'm down to 5 rounds now. And also gain a point of stress for failing my check. Okay. So now it is the crab's turn. He is going to try to close to attack with me. So first we have to do another speed save. Oh, I should have taken disadvantage on that when I did that speed check earlier. Dang. Okay, that's no, he's just doing initiative. Okay, that's fine. So now it's his turn. He's going to try to move and attack. So he is going to go ahead and attack me with his combat. He has to beat a 30, which is good. Or no, a 40, excuse me. His instinct is 30. So he's going to roll, see if he's going to try to attack me with the old crab here. 2d10. He has to beat a 30. He rolled a 75, so he failed. Good. Great. All right, so what do I want to do? Do I want to try to attack him again, or try to get out? I only have 5 shots left on my revolver. He is a big boy. He does a 10d5 worth of damage. Holy shnikes. He could kill me in like a couple of hits. There's no way I'm going to kill him. So I am going to try to get away from him. I'm going to run and try to climb up on to the scaffolding to get out of his reach. So I'm going to go ahead and do a roll here. And I'm going to do a speed roll. Unfortunately, it is, even with my plus 10 from my Ren-wise, from my 0G, I have to beat a 50, but I do get disadvantage. So I'm going to roll my 2d10s for disadvantage. I have to roll it twice. So I got a 12. Oh no, that's a 0, right? So the first, a 10 is a 0. So I got a 2, which is good. All right. A 2, but I got to roll for disadvantage. 85. Jeez. God dang it. Oh, Jeebus. Oh, I failed. So what we're going to say on this failure is I try to climb up the scaffolding, but the crab reaches out and tries to grab me with his pincher. Now, since I failed, I'm giving him this free attack, basically. So this could be really bad. First of all, I need to give myself a stress for this. And he's going to grab me, or try to grab me, with his pincers. So he's going to go ahead and roll 2d10s. His attack is a 63. Whew. All right. His attack is a 40, so he rolled a 63. So he didn't get me, but he did try to pinch me, and I shook him off with, he didn't quite catch my foot, but he did almost get me. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a panic check, because I feel like that's a heck of a thing there. And so let's roll a panic check to see if I panic. My panic now has to beat a 5. So I'm going to roll my d20. Whoo, I come in with a 4. No. No. A 4 means I have impaired reasoning. Disadvantage for 1d10 minutes on everything. Jeez. All right, so I'm up on the scaffolding. I appear to be safe up here. He's knocking around trying to get to me, but he can't quite reach me up on the scaffolding. And so he scuttles around for several minutes trying to decide what to do. So let's give him the oracle to see, does the crab give up and leave? 14. Oh, no, a 4, excuse me. 10 is a 0. So, got a 4. He does leave. No, he does not leave. He moves over to basically block the door. So he moved over to where the exit is, and he kind of just settled in. All right, so now I have to decide, what am I going to do to get away from this crab? Now, I have a few options. I could make a run for the executive room and try to lock myself in there, but I'd have to beat a speed check basically to see if I could get there faster than he does. I could take another shot at him and see if I could scare him off with a little bit of damage. We might do that. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at him. And we're going to see, I'm going to take a shot and see if we can scare him off by attacking him. So I'm going to roll a combat check. I'm going to add in my rimwise. That's a 55. I have to beat a 55. However, I do have disadvantage because I'm panicking. So I'm going to roll 2 D10 rolls. I got a 71 and a 7, but I have to take the 71 because I failed. So I did shoot, but I missed. So that's another shot here. And another stress. Okay. Whew, this is tough. Alright, even though I missed, was that enough to scare off the crab? A 12. No. In fact, it aggravated him to the point where he's going to come over and start slamming at the scaffolding base with his body to try to knock me off of this scaffolding. So what he's going to do is we're going to make opposing combat rolls basically, or he'll make a combat roll. If he succeeds, he's going to damage the scaffolding enough where I'm going to have to make a speed check to keep from falling off of the scaffolding. So he's going to make a combat check first. So 2d10s, he got a 96, so he failed. All right, so he's slamming that scaffolding with his claws and stuff, trying to knock it down. But so far, I've been able to be okay. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna shoot again. I mean, if I make a run for it, I have disadvantage on speed, on anything really. I have disadvantage on everything for 10 minutes. He's going to probably continue to try to knock me off of this thing, and eventually he's going to. So really my only choice is to try to hide somewhere. Is there a way for me to climb over to the executive room across this scaffolding? 17. No. Low temperature survival slows. No, so there's no way for me. There are rafters in the ceiling of the above the cubicles that I might be able to use to make my way across to the executive room, but it would be so slow that there's no way I would be able to make it. So I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to take a shot with my gun to see if I can scare this thing off again. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take another shot. I'm going to roll combat. I have to roll disadvantage again, so I have to roll twice. So I rolled another 67 and a 14, and that's another failure. Dang, another fail. So that brings my stress up to 7. Down to 3 rounds now. Is that enough to scare him off, though? Even though I shot and missed, is that enough to scare him off? 63. So a 13. No. He didn't leave, but he does finally get tired of sitting there, and so he starts moving over to the tunnel in the monitor room. So while he's sitting there, he kind of clicks around trying to get to me for a little while, and finally he gives up and he moves over towards the tunnel, which we saw that maybe he lived in the giant tunnel. So he moves on over there. When he's moving over there, does he get hit by the acid trap in the cubicle? I wonder if that's why they set that acid trap. Does he get hit by the acid trap? 85, which would be a 35. 35. Yes. Ooh. He does get hit by the acid trap. However, it was a different acid trap than the one that hit me. And so, in fact, it was not an acid trap. This one, it was a bludgeoning trap. So, it looks like some metal and things constructed together to make like a blunt force object swings down from the rafters and slams into the crab and does we'll do the same damage as, like, say, a crowbar, and a crowbar does 1d5. So let's add in a 1d10, 1d10, and then if it's above 10 we would subtract 5, but it's not, so it does 3 damage. So the crab now has 3 damage, and back up to where the crab was listed. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. Ah, here we are. Whoa. Stop. Alright, so the giant crab. Giant crab. 40. Combat. 10d5. Jeez. It's got 10 hits and 5 wounds. So he's now down to 7 health. Okay. Wow. Was that, whenever he gets hit, does he try to go ahead and leave the area? Alright, 32. That sounds pretty good. 32. Yes. But there's still a risk if we make a lot of noise that he'll come back out of the tunnel. But he completely goes into the tunnel. And as much as I try to shine my light from the scaffolding to see if I can see him, like, peeking out, I don't see him. So I'm going to have to either, like, rest here and... oh my god, this is crazy. I'm not going to go into the executive room and look for Project Hellmouth documents. I don't give a crap about Project Hellmouth, right? We are just going to see if we can freaking survive this. So I'm going to try to, slowly and carefully make my way over to the generator, fire it up, and then egress through the door into the next area, if at all possible. So, what should I roll for that? I should have probably done a fear save instead of a panic save after I got attacked. Whatever. Let's go ahead and do a speed check to see. Yeah, we'll just do a speed check. It's disadvantage again. We're going to do a speed check and see if we can go over there to the generator without being heard by the crab. And we will go ahead and use our our 0G skills once again. See if we can quietly move in our vac suit. Okay, we are rolling with disadvantage, however, so I'm going to roll twice. I got a... Oops, wrong one. Dummy. Okay, that's clear. So I don't get confused. I'm going to roll 2d10. So I got a 58 and a 56. 58 and a 56. My speed is 50. Oh, so I failed. Stress. Alright. My stress goes up. So I'm trying to climb down as quietly as possible. And unfortunately I fail. Do I make enough noise for the crab to hear me? 14. 14, please be a no. No. But firearms violence suppression. It does make a loud noise whenever I fall. Whenever I fall the last couple of feet from the scaffolding down to the ground, it does make a loud poof, like a loud kaboom sound of my armored feet, even though the armor is now no good, hitting the ground. But it didn't appear to be enough noise to bring the crab back from his home. So I'm going to move as quickly and quietly as possible over to the generator, and I'm going to roll an intellect save with my mechanical repair. So that's a 56. Unfortunately, I am still disoriented from my panic, so I have to roll disadvantage, but I'm going to try to fire up the generator. So I got a 77, which will be a critical failure, or a 14. Oh, critical failure. Dang. So a critical failure, my stress does go up once again. Jeez, I'm getting really stressed. Oh my God. All right, so critical failure. So let's just roll a D100 and see what it gives me an idea of what could happen on a critical failure of 12. Low gravity, weight, unreality. So we'll say it did fire up, but when the lights come on, it brings the just say it brings the crab back out of the tunnel, and we can see him now in the light that he is huge and covered in barnacles. So he's a crab so large and so old that he's got his own barnacles on his shell from other little parasitic mollusks attaching themselves to him. It just looks incredibly alien and unreal. And he lets out another screech and starts to scuttle towards me. But luckily, I'm right there by the door. So I'm going to shut the door and hopefully we will be safe. Can the crab open the door? 52, so a 2. No. Whenever I close it, it's magnetically sealed. And so we're, for now, safe from the crab. But I do have to make a panic check. So I should have stayed on that page, because we have to make a panic check every time we move to a new place. So I'm going to roll D20. I have to roll above my panic. Rolled a 7. My panic is a 9, so I panicked. I am now an idea fixation. I gain the condition 1d5 stress each time I encounter a previously encountered sign on the semiotic standard. Oh my God. So if I roll the same thing that I've previously rolled, I will get 1d5 extra stress. Jeez. Oh, and you know what? I haven't been filling out this little incident label. Dang, that sucks. So I better write this down right quick. So I'm going to make me a little table here. All right, so what are some of the incidents that we've encountered so far? The really only thing that we have encountered that were like hazards was we had the acid trap. I'm going to have to put it here. Acid trap. And we encountered the giant crab. Okay. The only other thing that we encountered that was an incident was the exploded hyperbaric chamber. And that didn't happen to us. So is that really an incident? I don't think so. I think it has to be something that happened to us. Like some thing that we had to overcome. Alright, so the acid trap, let's roll the D10 for that. D10, 1D10. Alright. It's a 2. And then for the crab, is a 9. Ooh, yeah, so the crab is definitely a very dangerous thing. So if we roll another event that's a 9, we're going to have repercussions. Okay, so yes, near misses, it says. So it requires a panic check for every repercussion. Okay. All right, that's fine. We've already panicked 2 different times. So idea fixation. I gain 1d5 if I do 2 semiotic standards in a row, or it just says previously. Okay, well, that's fine. All right, we are back to the next room. Next section. The garden. The tunnel's cross-section is taller in Section 2 to accommodate a split-level arrangement. Entry from Section 1 brings one out onto a mid-level platform. The upper level houses a grow center for fungi. This contains rows of substrate inoculated with mycelium. These specimens have been bioengineered for self-sufficiency, providing nourishment to personnel stationed at TEL-022 long-term. Caution. Some fungi are strictly for medicinal purposes and may have adverse health effects if consumed. These specimens are clearly marked. The lower level serves as a laboratory with multiple rooms for containment, observation, and experimentation. Much of the equipment located on the lower level is valuable and sensitive to disturbance. There is clear signage documenting emergency procedures for contamination. Check panic before proceeding. Dang, this is huge. The mid-upper level is black, apparently. Okay. Wow. So I guess this black part is the upper level catwalk, and all of these little rows are the mycelium plants. And then down below is all the equipment. All right, so let's give this old cat a lesson here for room number 3, or section number 2, rather.
Section 2A.
This platform is more rickety than I would like. The lower level looks entirely flooded.
Wow, great.
I've been upstairs. The place is filled with thick mist. The air tastes like bitter earth. I was expecting cute red toadstools, something like that. These mushrooms have grown in tall, lanky clusters. They look like bony figures standing there, all in neat rows in the dark, dripping. It's unsettling. The flashlight's playing tricks. I keep seeing something pale in the corner of my eye. A person creeping, but there's no one there. Those mushrooms towering over me. I never liked mushrooms. The map shows an exit at the end of the level, but I walked around and around, getting myself worked up like a lost kid, and I never got there. Finding the steps back down to the entrance was a fluke. I just feel tired. It's all quiet. Just the dripping.
Section 2B.
I've been in that murky water. What's it been? An hour? The lower level isn't less of a maze than the upper one. There's a bunch of strange gear down here, machines and tanks. Some of them had animals inside, dead. So dead I couldn't even tell you what they were. I read the labels, mostly nonsense to me. Stuff about beamish particles. Pretty sure there's a whole area on the north side I didn't even come close to. Several sections down here where I had no choice but to submerge to proceed. Visibility under that water is about 0. Honestly hard going. The whole thing felt like a good way to get myself killed. I should have a guideline like cave divers do. You know, those guys who get trapped tight in the bowels of hell and aren't found again for years? I'm rambling. I'm shaking now. I think the cold's got into my bones. There. I've turned on the lights. I think I hoped they would have made me feel warmer.
Okay. So he references the particles. Where was it? Beamish particles. So that was something in the hazards that we saw. That I didn't read about them because I didn't want to spoil myself. So let's go back up to the hazards up here. He references the beamish particles. So let's read about the beamish particles. So UPB 154 lies in the Stroop belt. So beamish dust is assumed to be present in the atmosphere. These runaway nanoparticles were originally designed for proof of concept terraforming, so they're man-made. Of course they are. They are a well-documented nuisance, clinging to living matter in visible clusters, and sometimes causing localized and uncontrolled, though thoroughly largely benign growth. The medical term for it is terratomata. For the most part, the dust particles retain their original logic to avoid human beings. On first exposure, you may feel discomfort and dizziness. Documented cases of growth interaction in humans are uncommon and not currently well studied. Official guidance recommends personnel report for a medical examination on return from UPB 154. Okay, so it's something that can attack you apparently. Disadvantage to hit because they're tiny. You have a 10% chance of irregular body growth on contact. Whoa, jeez. And you take a fear and then stress from that. Dang. Shibas Christo. Alright, so section 2 then. What do we know about section 2? Section 2, we know. First of all, these beamish particles. Okay. And they have combat 35, instinct 15. Instinct basically takes the place of all their saves. One save, one wound. I mean, 1 hit point, 1 wound. They're disadvantage to hit. And then 10% chance of irregular body growth on contact and requires fear save. Okay, so hopefully we don't have to do that part. I'll look at back up if we do. All right, so jeez, this not good. Not good at all. So the garden. All right, so upper levels, this part, and he couldn't find a way down to the exit from this upper level. So it sounds like we're going to have to go down to the lower level. So we know that there's no exit from upper level. It is full of tall mushrooms. Some of them are dangerous. I've got an idea about that. The lower level is flooded. And there are tanks with specimens. I've got an idea about that too. And what was the other thing here? That's where the beamish particles were, possibly. So sounds like the biggest risk. Oh, and he said you may have saw someone creeping. Pale face, he said. Or something pale. Person creeping. Creeping creeper. A few things that piqued my interest about this is some of the fungi are strictly for medicinal purposes and may cause adverse health effects if consumed. These specimens are clearly marked. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to like look for danger, right? Okay, yeah, that's obvious. I'm really shaken up right now. I'm gonna look if there's some stress reduction specimens. I'm gonna read some of the labels of these mushrooms and see if there's something I can take to lower my, make me relax a little bit, even if it gives me a slightly malice effect as well. I think it might be worth it if I could reduce my panic, because right now, my stress, because right now it is getting really high. It's up to 9 already. Now, once per session, I could get advantage on a panic roll instead of disadvantage. Would cancel it out basically, unless I can get my current panic down, which probably I still have several minutes. So I'm gonna, first thing I'm gonna do is when I come in, we're gonna do a quick check. I'm gonna look around with my flashlight. Is there any immediate danger I can see in the area? So I'm gonna roll first a 90. Shoot, that's not good. That's gonna be a positive result. All right, so that's gonna be a 40, which is gonna be a positive result. All right, so a 40. Oh, shoot. Yes, artificial intelligence. So, oh my God, there is something dangerous in the area, and it looks like something um, of an artificial intelligence of some sort, or logic or miscommunication. So, while I'm looking around with my flashlight, I notice on some of these grow beds on the fungi are computer terminals. And whenever I start looking at the computer terminal to do a little search, there is an AI aspect of the terminal that then interacts with me. And the AI helper at TEL022 is named Ari. Although long periods of inactivity and in the absence of human interaction, Ari is believed to be unstable. Previous reports have described the AI as manipulative and occasionally cruel. It is not known whether Ari has working access to the site's security systems, and when restoring power, it is possible that Ari may attempt to communicate with personnel. There are a variety of responses to Ari's Hello World function that could possibly cause it to reboot in diagnostic mode. Interesting. And some of it is seeking binary code. It's interesting. Okay. So, Ari may not be able to be trusted. And I'm surprised that these grow beds are powered, but they must be powered by something besides the normal power generator. The normal power generator that turns on the lights must be for like the main, these must have some sort of backup to keep these grow beds, watering and everything in case of a power outage. So it looks like when I'm interacting with the console to try to figure out if there's any safe mushrooms I can use, that Ari then contacts with me, and it's not a verbal prompt that it's just text. Like, I can't hear him verbally at this moment. Maybe when I turn the power on, he'll be able to interact with me. But right now, he basically comes in and is going to try to interact with me. So he basically says, "Welcome to TEL022, The Garden. I am Ari, your artificial assistant. How may I assist you today?" So I'm going to ask Ari, are there any edible mushrooms in the grow beds. All right, so I'm going to ask Ari that. Are there any edible mushrooms in the grow beds? Let's see what Ari says. We're going to roll for Ari on the Oracle page. He comes back with 30. Oops, I typed in 30. He comes back with a 30, and he says, yes, but please be aware that the medicinal mushrooms have some negative side effects. Okay, great. I mean, I already knew that from the description in the garden. Okay, so I'm going to ask Ari here, is there specifically a mushroom that will lower stress? And he says 17. No, but there are some that will lower your body temperature. Okay. So I'm going to ask him, if I eat the mushrooms that lower my temperature, will it lower my stress? Oh, let's see what he says to that. 100. Holy crap. 50. Yes, but it could affect my vision. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm going to say, how will it affect my vision? Let's see what he says. 38. Oh, snap. Medical support, health, and sterility. It will make my vision sterility. It will make me see in black and white or lower contrast. Okay. So it might affect how I see things. Okay. That's fine. I'm going to type in what grow bed contains these mushrooms. And then he says, he gives me a number, 2A74. So if we look at 2A74, we can walk over to those mushrooms and get a sample of the mushroom. Okay, so I'm gonna type in, do I have to prepare the mushrooms before consumption? What's he say to that? 14. No. But it might, if they're not prepared, it might make me feel too suppressed. Like, it might make me feel like too lackadaisical. So I'm going to go ahead and using my flashlight, I'm going to walk on over to the grow bed that he indicated. And while I'm walking over there, do I see out of the corner of my eye or anything signs of someone creeping around? No. But there are lots of little small confined areas where someone could be hiding. So I have to be aware of that. So I'm going to go on over to the mushroom bed indicated to a whatever I said before. And I'm going to take a sample of this mushroom and see if I can break a piece of the mushroom off. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a roll, and I'm going to take a sample of this mushroom using strength. No, I'll use intellect with rimwise to see. Well, I don't really know anything about mushrooms with rimwise. That's more about stuff. So it's probably just going to be a straight intellect check. So we'll roll an intellect check, 2d10. I still have disadvantage at this point. So We'll roll 2d10s. So that's a 12. That's good. And a 76. Oh, dang. Dang it. So I failed. So I go ahead and get another stress. Now I'm up to 10. 10 stress now. Holy smokes. Okay. So I failed my intellect check. So I do take a piece of the mushroom. And I'm going to go ahead and eat it. And I'm going to flip a coin. And I'm going to say, well, I better do a dice. I'm going to roll a D100. If I get over a 50, so 51 or higher, it will lower my stress by 1d6. If I get lower than 50, it increases my stress by 1d6. Meaning I got the wrong mushroom or Ari was lying to me or something. All right, here we go. Over 50 is good. So close. I got a 50, but I said it had to be over 50. No. Dang, no, Ari, curse you, Ari. So I take a bite of the mushroom, and instead of feeling relaxed and slowed down, instead I start to feel even more stress. And so, instead of just rolling 1d6 stress, let's just roll a fear save. And if I roll a fear save, or maybe I should roll a body check, actually. Let's roll a body check. And if I fail the body check, then I will gain stress. If not, I'll be okay. So the body check, I don't think I get to do any skills with that. It's just a straight 31. Still have disadvantage. Dang. Okay, so I'm going to roll a 30 and a 36. We have to take the 36, which is a fail. God dang it. Ah, boy. 1d6 is a lot. Let's roll a 110. Let's roll a d10. And if we get... Now, let's see. Yeah, let's roll a d10. And if I get a 6 or higher, I roll a d6. If I roll a 5, I'll roll a d5 of stress, a 4, a d4 of stress, d3 of stress, d2 of stress, which would just be a 50% drop, and our d1 will be just 1 stress. So we're going to roll 1 d10. Oops. Here. All right, 1. Good. So I just get 1 stress. Oh, jeez. Oh my god, I'm up to 11 stress. Can't read it, but it's 11. Oh, this is a really poorly designed PDF. I'm just going to put it down here so I can read it. Okay, so, oh, dang, incident, mushroom. Let's roll a d10 for that. And 1d10. It's a 9 again. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I got a 9 again. Which means I have to roll a panic. What the heck? Panic. Please get over 11. Oh my god. 14. All right, we're going to have to find somewhere to rest. We're going to have to find somewhere to rest. This is nuts. All right, so I'm going to do a check here, and I'm going to say, look around around the fungal beds, and can I find somewhere to rest for at least 10 minutes? 34. Ooh, refrigeration measurement care. So whenever I'm looking around up here in the grow beds, I come across a small walk-in freezer where they store samples. But since the power is out, the walk-in freezer is not cold. It's just normal room temperature. So I can go in there and I'm gonna close the door, and I have my crowbar there, and there's kind of like a latch that goes across. I'm gonna jam my crowbar in there so that it can't be opened from the outside, or if someone does try to open it, I'm going to be okay. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to lay down and rest I'm going to take a little nap for about 30 minutes. And hopefully this will reduce my stress here. So let's take a look and see about reducing stress here. Make a rest save using my worst save. If I succeed, reduce your stress by the ones digit rolled. If you rolled a 24, under your worst save of 30, reduce your stress by 4. Alright, we can do this. So my worst save, I can also get advantage on my rest save by prayer, meditation, or other suitable leisure activity. Interesting. So, I don't think my guy is particularly prayerful. So, what could I do to relieve some extra stress? I have my trench shovel, which is my memorabilia. No, I don't think I'm just going to go for my lowest save, which is a 31 body save. So I have to roll my save here and make a rest save. Reduce your stress by the ones digit rolled. Okay. So I have to, first of all, I have to beat this. 39. Dang. Oh. So I tried to rest. I laid there for about 30 minutes, but ultimately, I couldn't get enough rest to relax and lower my stress. So after 30 minutes of laying there, I've now used up, half an hour of time in here. I could try to rest again for another 30 minutes to see if, let's do it. Let's do one more check because I've got 12 hours of oxygen. I've only been down here for less than an hour already. So I think we can afford another 30-minute rest. Let's go for it. Yes, I got a 1, 0, 1. And I take the ones digit, which is a 1, that's okay. I'll take it. I lower my stress by 1. So now it's back down to a 10 for an hour's worth of resting. Jeez, okay. Oh, man. All right, well, that's fine. Okay, so we get up. We rested. Ari in the grow bed computers. We talked to him. So I don't know if I can trust him. We ate a mushroom, caused more stress. So I'm not going to do that again. All right. So I am going to go back and talk to Ari, and I'm going to ask Ari something. I'm going to say, Ari, are there sub pumps in the lower level that we can use to remove the excess water? Are there sump pumps from the lower level that can remove the excess water? 32. Yes, but we have to first check the compressed air tanks and make sure that they are full to be able to push the air through the pump that would then evacuate the water. So it's kind of like the pumps in a submarine whenever they want to, submerge, or like ballast tanks, so to speak. So, okay. All right, so let's do a little search for these canisters. I'm going to come back out. It has been an hour. And so let's go ahead and we're going to come out of our little rest area here. And I'm going to go ahead and roll. And I'm going to say, do we see any signs of any people walking around, moving around, creeping around? Do we see anybody around? Oh, shoot. 70. That's a high one. That's 20. No. But the unfamiliarity of the mushrooms just look very like alien, you know, it looks very concerning. So at least we don't see people, which is good. All right, so let's go ahead and do a search then. Let's climb on down to the lower level. And the water is disgusting and cold and murky. I can't see anything in the water. But I'm going to look around with my flashlights and see if I can find these gas tanks. So I do some searching around, and I come across a little closet, and I open it up, and there indeed are several tanks in there with gauges. And so I'm going to roll a percentage here, D100, and see if there is gas still in the tanks. 90. So that's going to be a 40. And that's going to be a positive. Yes, there are gas in the tanks. I don't care about the extra stuff here. I'm just checking yes or no. So, yes, there are gas still in the tanks. All right. So I'm going to do an intellect save here. And I'm going to try to follow the pipes from this gas tanks to see if I can find where the sump pumps are. So I'm going to do an intellect roll, and I am going to add mechanical repair to that to see if I can get something good. Still have disadvantage because, oh no, I rested plenty of time, so I'm no longer panicking. So, all right, so I don't have to roll disadvantage. All right, so I got a 23. That's good. 23 is below my my intellect with mechanical repair. So I find the sump pump, and I'm able to turn them on, and the machinery kind of chokes and gags and stuff. But apparently it is not dependent on the power generation to turn on. And they start whirring to life and begin to pump out the water. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll a D100. How many minutes is it going to take to pump out all of that water? 74 minutes. So that gives me a little over an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and go back up to my rest area. We'll say it takes me another 10-15 minutes to walk back to my rest area that I had found. And we're going to spend this hour trying to rest once again for our stress level. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to roll another body save and see if we can get better than 31. Yes. 9. 09. All right. So 09, that means we can remove 9 stress. Oh my gosh, that was a good rest. That was a lifesaver. So we're down from 10 back down to 1. 1 stress. That was a good nap. So now we've probably spent almost 3 hours here. So probably have 9 hours of O2 left at this point. All right. And the water has been excavated from the room. So now the floor is still gross and sticky and there's sediment everywhere and little like algae bits and things like that. But we can clearly see the equipment of all the scientific stuff and the weird specimens and things. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to search around to see if I can find some ammunition for my revolver. So I'm going to do a search. Can I find some ammunition for my revolver? 84. So that would be a 34. Yes, but measurement care. Okay. So I do find the ammunition, but it is in a lockbox in some of the storage facility there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to use my crowbar to break open this lock and see if I can get to that ammo. So this is going to require a strength check, and I'm going to give myself the industrial equipment roll to help. So strength plus industrial equipment for my crowbar. Let's do it. I got to beat a 46. All right, I got a 20. Fantastic. So I successfully open up the ammo container, and I'm going to roll a 1d10 and see how much ammo we find in there. 8. Holy smokes, yeah. I find 8 rounds of ammo, so that puts me up to 11 rounds of ammunition. So I found, okay, so I turned on the pumps, sump pumps, and evacuated the water. And then we found a lockbox with 8 ammo. Okay, fantastic. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this opportunity to go ahead and eat one of our MREs. I feel like we're doing good. All right, we've turned a corner in the situation here. All right, so what else do we want to know in this room? I'm going to avoid looking at the tanks with the specimens. I haven't seen any humans creeping around. Let's say when I opened up the lockbox, did it make enough noise to cause someone to notice us, human or not? 24. No. But the activity, they did notice us, but not in a way that's going to affect us. So someone did take note of our activities, but it didn't affect us in any way. They didn't come and look for us or anything like that. All right, so I'm going to guess I'm just going to make my way over to the power generator. Can I make my way to the power generator without interruption? 33. Yes. So organic matter. So as I'm walking through the specimens, I take note that not only are there creatures and things in here, it looks like humans are in some of these tanks. So there's some human beings in some of these test tanks, which is greatly disturbing. So I think I'm going to take a save here due to that. I'm going to take a sanity check on that, or a fear. We'll do a fear. It's scary. I'm going to do a fear save for this, finding these human specimens in these tanks. 61, that's a fail. Dang. All right, so I earned a little stress. Okay. So that's super disturbing. Super disturbing. All right, so we're going to make our way over to the power generator. And I'm going to go ahead and do another mechanical repair and see if we can fix up the power generator and start the lights in this room. So I'm going to roll intellect. Got a 34. That is below my 56. So we successfully turn on the lights. Everything whirs to life. And now that whole room is lit up and we can move on to the next section. And as soon as I turn on the lights, let's check and see if that draws the attention of these beamish particles. So if I go to our oracle here, and I'm going to say, do the beamish particles, does the power coming back on, can I see the beamish particles moving around in any way, or does it draw their attention? I'm going to roll a D100 there, and I got a 60, which is a 10. No, but I can see several particles, clusters of particles, kind of like the will-o-wisps of ages of old in the mythic past, where people would see little beams of light or little spots of light flying around in swamps and things representing the lost spirits of people in that area. I too see these little particles floating around in little clusters over some of the containers in the laboratory section of the screen of the map. They don't appear to see me or be interested in me in any way. So they're just kind of moving around in their own little thing. And then suddenly, over the loudspeakers in the room, a voice crackles to life.
Hello, Devon.
Ari? Is that you? How do you know my name?
Hi, I'm Ari. Hazmos told me you were coming.
I thought there wasn't any communication between the surface and sat-navs.
The dropship beamed me your information.
Okay. What's going on here, Ari? What is this place?
That is on our need-to-know basis only.
Okay. Okay. Did you know there's a giant crab in the previous section? How are people going to use this station effectively? This place is a mess.
That is not your problem. I need you to continue to turn on the lights. Then I can proceed with my programming.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, tell me this, Ari. Are there any other people on board this station? Are there any other people in the facility?
Other humans are detected.
Okay, and are they hostile, or are they part of your organization, or who are they?
That is our need-to-know basis only.
Why do you keep saying ha? Ha, you keep saying ha.
What is ha?
I don't know. Ari, is there anything else you can tell me about this facility, or can you tell me anything about Project Hellmouth?
Project Hellmouth is classified.
Okay. Do you have ill intent towards me, Ari?
I am only here to help run this facility.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Ari. And, oh, by the way, thanks a lot for the help with the mushrooms. What you told me was wrong. That mushroom did not decrease my stress. It increased my stress.
Human failure is not to my fault.
Okay. All right, Ari. Ta-ta then. Ta-ta. I guess I'm going on to the next section.
Where are you going, Devon?
I'm going through this door into section 3.
Fulfill your duty and turn on the power.
I will do that, Ari. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so I guess we need to do another panic check. And if I take a look at my panic or at my stress, I'm currently back to a 2 in my stress levels. And so that's not bad. I I do have to remind myself what I need to do here. Panic. Okay, check my panic. Alright, panic check. Why am I... Oh yeah, I have to roll a d20. I was like, drawing a blank there. Okay, I need to roll a d20 and compare it to my stress, which is really low, so hopefully I'm going to be okay. 19, perfect. Okay, I did not panic, and we can move on to section 3. So I open the door, and I proceed to section 3. Alright, section 3, the bulge. The tallest part of TEL 022, section 3, houses on-site accommodation arranged in an amphitheater formation, with dormitories and wash stations around the outside, and a central mess hall and an accompanying kitchen. The seabed below this part of the tunnel is particularly unstable. The contents of this section are built on raised platforms. Care is to be taken when ascending and descending the levels, as the flooring is steep, uneven, and missing in places. What is this place? Parasitic infestations have been previously recorded. Personnel are recommended to keep their distance from bed linen and/or any remaining soft furnishings. Please refrain from tampering with the personnel lockers contained in the dormitories. Check panic before proceeding to the next section. Wow, this is a huge section. All right, let's hear what the previous lamplighter had to say.
Section 3A.
I'm not alone down here. As soon as I entered this section, I could see the light. I skirted the outside of the bunks, one hand on the revolver, and then... "Come to the light," a voice said. "Come to the light." And that echoed. Somehow it feels like a lifetime since I heard another human voice. You know, these modules have all been blank so far. No recordings. I miss my family. Sounds stupid. I have this strange feeling, this urgency to see them, to see the daylight. Approach the mess hall. A sorry sight. These people, they're sick, filthy, ragged skin, saggy in some places and taut in others. Something off about the skin, like there's trouble beneath. Personnel? I asked. No, they don't know. They don't know anything. There's one with something on his face, like a ridge of bone growing from his top lip over his cheek and into his eye socket. He was talking excitedly, but the words tripped over each other. Something broken inside, like when the batteries start to go in my kid's toy. Mouth lost to the teeth, that's what he kept saying. All of them going on and on about me taking them deep. I just told them I'd go on and find help. The sight of them, I just feel disgust. I feel it aching in me.
Section 3B.
Lights up.
Intruders detected. Lamplighter Quinn, you have clearance to call.
Is this Ari? Is this Ari? They're just survivors.
Do not be fooled. They are raiders. They are conspiring to hurt you. You will need to pull the trigger harder than you expect. Section 3B.
If he had just stopped moaning those words, he was clinging to me. I could feel the bones. Ari, are you there? The others, they disappeared after the shot. Can you hear me? Ari, can you hear me? Please.
Dang. That is intense. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I too can see the light of, looks like maybe a lantern or some sort of device that emits a small amount of light. I can see that inside the area around the bunks. I'm hesitant to go towards the light. So I may try to skirt the light and just try to make my way over to the power generator. But let's take some notes about what we learned just now. So we know that according to the bulge instructions, there are some parasitic infections around. So and then we also know there are people with deformities of some sort. Probably from those particles, those beamish particles, I assume. They've been somehow affected by those beamish particles. Because I know that it said that they were, that it can cause growths and things on people's bodies. So, that's interesting. And then when he turned the lights on, Ari came on, and Ari sounded different to him than it did from me. So I wonder if Ari tailors their voice to match the person interacting with them. I wonder if, like, for some whatever reason, maybe that particular lamplighter responds better to a female voice, whereas maybe I respond better to a male voice. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. Okay, well, so we know there are lockers around that we'll need to check. And I may look and see if we can find either some patches for our damaged suit, or perhaps I can just find a whole new suit. Now, I know it says, refrain from tampering with the personnel lockers. Pfft, trick that, yo. I'm tampering the heck out of it. I'm going to try to find a way to repair my suit, get back to the full armor of the suit there. So, other than those few things, now Ari did try to convince him to kill these people for some reason. So, that's interesting. I wonder why. I think he's going a little mad too. I don't think he was able to get his panic down like I was. All right, so I'm going to, I guess I'm going to try to sneak around around the lighted section, because the section here in the middle is where I can see the lights. I'm gonna try to sneak around this edge section and see if I can get to the lockers without them seeing me. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I do have my flashlight on, unfortunately. So I'm gonna say, do the people with the lights see the light of my flashlight? 87, which would be a 37. 37, yes. They see me as I'm walking towards the lockers, and they call out to me, "Hey, you over there! Come into the light so we may see." Oh, hi, hello. I better roll a fear save, because that is creepy. So I'm gonna roll a fear save with 2d10s, or I can do a d100. That's fine. A 20. Okay, so 20 is below my fear of 32, so I passed. Hello, hello. My name's Devon. I'm coming over. Are you supposed to be here? I was told that there shouldn't be anyone here, and that you may be trespassing. Please, don't try anything. I am armed. We just want to go deeper. Help us to go deeper. Oh, snap. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to do an intellect. I'm going to walk on over to them, and when I walk up to the people and I can see them in the light of their lanterns. The previous lamplighter was correct. They're all disheveled, dirty. Their clothes are in rags. In fact, some of the rags that they're wearing look very similar to the rags that we saw back in the other section, hanging over in the rafters. And so, yeah, they are just in a pitiful shape. A lot of them, like you mentioned, they have skin deformities, weird protrusions coming out of different places in their body, like bony protrusions in their face, in their hands. Some of them have extra fingers. Some of them have strange bumps and lumps on their chest or in their shoulders. It all appears to be, just from what I can see, it all looks like adults. Like, I don't see any kids, so I don't think people are like living in here like a colony. It looks like all adults. Although some people are just completely deformed to the point where I can't really tell what is going on. So I'm going to make a sanity check, because this is beyond reality here. So I'm going to roll a d20 for my sanity. And oof, I got a 70. Jeez. So I failed. So I'm going to take another stress. And just seeing these deformities, it just really cracks my sense of reality, and the beamish particles are what I assume is doing this to these people. And so, yeah, they look to be in a really, really rough shape. Help us to go deeper. I don't want any trouble. I just want to do my job, which is to turn on the lights and get out of here. No, don't turn on the lights. We like the dark. The voices speak to us. In the light, in the dark, there's silence. I have a job to do, and the job is to turn on the lights. And so I'm going to start backing away from them. I have my revolver in my hand, and I'm loosely pointing it toward them. I'm not like aiming at them. I just have it kind of at the ready, as a warning to them that, don't mess with me, kind of thing. But I don't want to shoot them. Like, I really don't. I don't want to kill people. I've never killed a person before. The thought of killing someone is just abhorrent to me. So the fact that Ari told the previous lamplighter to kill these people is strange. But so far, he didn't say anything like that to me in the previous section. However, who knows what Ari has planned here. So I'm going to back away. Are they going to let me back away, or are they going to try to follow me as I back away from them? Do they try to follow me? 49. Oh. Yes. They, 2 or 3 of the people kind of shamble after me. They don't seem to be trying to stop me from doing things at this moment. They just seem to be like, and they stay like, one of them grabs the lantern, but he kind of stays like at the edge of the light so that he can still see me and see what I'm doing, but I can just barely, he can just barely see me in the pool of light cast by the lantern. But yeah, there's 3 of them, and one of them does have a crowbar in his hands. The other 2 seem to be unarmed. So I'm just going to keep an eye on them right quick, and I'm going to make my way back to the storage lockers, and I'm kind of like, I keep glancing back at them to see if they are reacting to me in any way, but so far they seem to not be. I'm going to try to search one of the lockers. When I search the lockers, do they try to stop me? 96, which is a 46. Uh-oh. Yes. When I start poking around at the lockers, they get very agitated. They're like, "Stop what you're doing. That's ours. This is ours, not yours." So I immediately take my hands away and have my hands kind of like up in like a placating gesture, like, okay, sorry. I won't mess with your things. And so I start making my way around the edge of the platform towards the power generation system in the darkness. And I'm going to start making my way over there. Do I have trouble navigate, or I'm just going to roll, instead of asking the Oracle, I'm just going to roll a speed check to see if I can navigate the up and down platforms, the ramps, and the missing stairs and things without any trouble. So I'm going to do a speed check, which is 40, and I do have 0G, which helps me in my suit, but I do have to roll disadvantage, unfortunately. So I'll get a 50. So I'm going to roll 2 D100s. Ooh, that's a fail. That's a big fail, 92. All right, well. So as I'm moving across the platforms here, let me get back to that page here. As I'm moving across these platforms, there's a set of stairs that I am trying to walk down, and one of the stairs is missing, but I'm keeping my flashlight turned foolishly towards the people who are still kind of shambling after me. Not like chasing me, they're just following me. And while I'm looking back at them, I miss my footing on one of the missing steps, and I take a little bit of a stumble. And that's going to increase my my stress. I'm going to try to like catch myself, and if I don't catch myself, I'm going to take some damage from a fall. So I'm going to do another speed check at a disadvantage once again. Yep, I did not catch myself. 61 is another failure, so I'm going to go ahead and increase my stress again, and I'm going to roll a 1d3 of damage from a fall down the stairs there. Oof, 3 damage. Dang. Okay. And now my health is down to 17. So I stumble down the flight of stairs, and I drop one of my flashlights that I was holding in my hand, and it falls and tumbles into the darkness below. I could probably go down and try to find it, but since I have another flashlight, I'm just gonna let it go. I don't care. I'm gonna let it go. I get banged up pretty bad from the fall, but it feels like nothing is broken. I kind of feel over myself, and I try to ease myself back up to my feet and test my ankles, and it feels like I'm okay, and just a little bruised, a little beat, just a little bit from the fall. I hear a little bit of a chuckle from the creepers following me. All right, as I make my way further towards so I took a fall, and let's see, also the intruders, talk of the deep. They prevent me from looking in the lockers. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and roll. Do they try to stop me from interacting with the power generation? I'm going to try to turn on the lights. Are they going to try to stop me? 13. Okay. That's going to be a negative, I think. Yes. So whenever I start messing with the power generator, they start shambling back towards where their like bedding area was. So they're on their way back to their living quarters without trying to stop me. So I'm going to take an intellect check now with the mechanical repair. So that's going to be a 56. I don't have disadvantage on this. So I'm going to roll for repairing the power generator and turning the lights back on. Oh, for Christ's sake. All right, I failed. And so I gain another stress. However, it does fire back up, but there's a bit of a little bit of an arc that came from a loose wire or something, and it gives me another 1d3 shock damage. Only 1 damage, but that's one too many. So now I'm down to 16 health. All right. So I go to turn that on and say, God dang it. I was trying to hurry, and worried about them sneaking back up on me. But I did get the lights on, but it caused myself a little bit of shock damage there. So the lights come on, and I hear like from the distance of them, like they're kind of like not screaming or anything, but like a bunch of moans like in unison. And there's probably 20 or 30 people there. Like I can't really see how many there are because they're all crowded up in a crowd there, and some of them are kind of out of sight in some of the little dormitories. But I just hear like this moaning and it's just very disturbing. And then I hear suddenly Ari come back over the loudspeakers.
Don't touch the Devon.
Don't touch the
Devon, there are intruders present.
Hello, Ari. Yes, there are intruders present, but they don't seem to be doing anything, so I'm going to leave them alone.
Devon, please follow protocol and remove the intruders.
I can't do that, Ari. Sorry, I cannot. I will not be a part of that. That's not part of my job. I'm here to turn on the lights, and that's what I'm doing. I'm turning on the lights. I'm not getting involved in this dispute between these people and the company. That's none of my business. It's none of my problem. I'm going to move on.
Devon, you are making a mistake.
I'm making a mistake. Ari, go to hell.
Project Helmuth is classified.
I'm out of here. All right, so I'm going to do another panic check. My stress is up to 6 now, so I'm going to roll my d20. Hopefully I get over a 6. Yes, good. 9. All right, so I didn't panic. I'm just going to leave. Do the people who are here in the room, or does Ari, either one, do they try to stop me? Oh, shoot. 24. What is that? No. High activity civilization labor. But when I start opening the door, they don't try to stop me, but they all start to clamor towards the door, like they're like going to try to either like convince me to not go or try to follow me. I'm not exactly sure. Like they all start shambling in their grotesque, deformed, tripping and falling way towards me, and I generally am very uncomfortable by that. And so I'm going to make another fear save to see if I can. Oh shoot! Dang! So I gained another stress from them and their crazy antics. But I make it through the door and I close the door behind me. And they, as far as I can tell, they're not trying to follow me into this section. All right, section 4, the Crown. Access is limited to personnel with Stage C clearance. Please ensure the entrance is firmly secured behind you. The western end of Section 4 contains treatment and observation bays for contaminated personnel and a full-body biometric scanner. A saturation habitat occupies the middle of the tunnel, linked to a moon pool called call sign Fontanelle. Oh, a moon pool. I said a tide pool earlier. Yeah, moon pool is what it's called. Tide pool. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, a moon pool. This is what I expected. I'm guessing the crabs come up from this moon pool probably. That's how they came into this place. Fontanelle provides diving access to the waters around TEL-022. Please exercise extreme caution near the open water. The eastern end of the Section 4 contains storage for tunnel boring machinery, protective equipment, and emergency supplies. There's a dedicated zone for the safe storage and maintenance of the primary tunnel boring machine, saw spot. Oh, jeez. Okay. I'll have to look up information about saw spot. Check panic before proceeding to the next section. Okay, so this is the stuff for the saw spot. This is the moon pool here. I was going to say tide pool again. And then I guess here is the storage facility, and down here is probably the medical facility. So I am a little bit banged up. I'm guessing it's been about 9 hours, maybe a little over 9 hours now left of oxygen, or maybe a little under 9 hours, probably more like, let's call it 8 hours now. We've got 8 hours of O2 left in our vac suit. I'm going to go ahead, as I've come in here, we're going to first listen to the information from Section 4 on this guy. He looks like he's cracking.
Section 4A.
I'm tired. There are beds here. I'm gonna lie down.
Section 4A.
My head is a mess. The bed is soaked in blood. That crab got me worse than I said before. I feel the water pressing in on all sides. It has a voice. The ocean's trying to get in. Just want out.
Section 4A.
Ari, answer me. I can't get the door open again. The dark half dreams. The dark half dreams.
Section 4A.
Something's glowing up ahead. Is that the Fontanelle thing? I hate it. The name. Those nights in the hospital. The fear as it gnaws in your chest. The metal plate. Yes. I remember that word. Who am I talking to? I'm gonna look for something to pry the door back open with. Screw this mission. This place. Oh, my head.
Section 4B.
Where are the controls? Where are the controls? There's someone in the saturation habitat screaming for help, but his voice is all high-pitched. I can't make him out. Horror in his eyes. One of these must open the chamber. This one.
Section 4B.
His arm is here. Jesus, he exploded. The blood. I can't see shit. The body is everywhere. I did this. I did this.
Section 4B.
The ground is quaking. I think it's over. You know, I went in that body scanner before, but I forget to pick up the printout. So there's no hope for me. Something's moving around there. I can hear it. It's coming closer. Open.
Jesus Christ, this guy is out of his effing mind. I think he's probably suffering from narcosis, or the Beamish particles touched him, or he got some of the spores from the from the fungal thing. Who knows what is going on with this guy, but he is... He's in much worse shape than I am, I think. Maybe I've taken it too easy on myself, or perhaps I've just been lucky. I don't know. But, so a few things that we know. For one thing, there's the fontanelle, the moon pool. Oh, I forgot to do my... Hold on, I need to put in my incident. I need to put in my incident from the fall that I took and the shock, actually. Sorry about that. I forgot about that part. We'll have to remember when you're doing it all yourself. Okay, so I took a fall and I suffered a shock. All right, so the fall, it's a D10. Roll 1d10. A 9 again. Jeez. All right, so I've already had repercussions from that, so no big deal. And then let's do another D10. A 1 again. Okay, no, I didn't have a 1. Good, I had a 2. All right, so the shock gives me a 1. So if I roll one of these again, then we'll be in trouble. But I think we're okay for now. All right, so back to the list of things going on. So the fontanelle, inside the hospital, and I assume is what the decompression chamber. He found somebody, and he like instead of decompressing them, he compressed them more and like obliterated their body. That sounds disgusting. So I'll have to check that, I guess. I don't know if I want to check it or not. And then the soft spot tunneling equipment. Okay. And I guess that's... Oh, and then he had an earthquake. Okay. Yeah, so he's struggling. He's struggling for sure. I think that's all that happened. The rest of it is just like a lot of madness in it. Yeah, right? So, yeah, like he got trapped inside the inside the hospital. All right, so first thing I'm going to do in here is I am going to go check the... I'm going to check the storage and supplies section, and I'm going to look for either a replacement vac suit or some sort of like patch kit to repair my vac suit. So do I find anything? Well, first I'm going to look, can I find a vac suit, a new vac suit in the supply section? 46. Yes. Video surveillance scrutiny evidence. Okay, so I do find a vac suit there, but it is locked behind like some glass. Like you have to like badge in to get to the vac suit. Like it has a little badge reader that you key in, and then you can get to the vac suit. It's a glass thing, so presumably I could break it. So I'm just going to take my crowbar and just smash the glass and see if I can just reach in and grab that suit. So I'm gonna roll a 1d. What is the crowbar? 1d10. Is it 1d10 or 1d5? 1d10. I mean, it's just glass, right? So I roll a 1, so I hit the glass, and it apparently is not glass. It like made like a chunk sound, so it's some sort of polycarbonate material that presumably is shatter resistant. It made like a tiny scratch in it, so instead of trying to do that, I'm going to do a strength check instead. I'm going to just put the pry bar in the edge of the door and see if I can just pry it open with my pry bar. So I'm going to do a strength check, which is a 36. I'm going to go ahead and add my industrial equipment check to that, so to make it a 46, and see if we can roll under a 46. Ah, dang, 96. So I try as hard as I can. I can't quite get the door open. Like it's too struck, and I push and I push and I push, and I try it from all different angles and different locations, but I just can't pry it open. So I can't get to the vac suit. I'm gonna search around the rest of the lockers and see if I find any other supplies. 14. All right, no, I didn't find any other supplies, but I do find some evidence of gun. Like I see some spent shells from firearms. Like I see scattered around a few firearms, and then I also find, interestingly enough, some of those needle things from the flechette, some flechettes from the flechette gun. And I hope that doesn't sound like a curse word when I'm saying that from the transcription device. But I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, flechette. Anyway, I'm going to do a little more searching to see if I can find a flechette gun. So I'm going to look around. Can I find a flechette gun? 72, which would be a 22. No. But while I am searching around in the lockers and things, like a piece of equipment inside one of the lockers, like an old motor, electric motor or something, falls out and almost smashes me. So I'm going to do a speed check now and see if I can dodge this. Unfortunately, I do have disadvantage. I'm going to do a speed check, which would be a 50 with my 0G, and see if I can dodge this thing from hitting me. Ah, I already failed, because even if I roll again, yep, disadvantage. All right, so I gained another freaking stress. Jeez, okay. And the motor like hits my leg when I'm trying to dodge out of the way and does another 1d3 damage. So that's another 2 damage off of my already 16. So now I'm down to 13. Or, excuse me, 14. Okay, can't see it for some reason, but yeah, it's 14. All right, so dang. All right, I'm going to have to call it quits with all this searching around here. I'm just hurting myself. So I'm going to make my way back over to the hospital area then. So the first thing I'm going to do, let's see, I took damage from the motor that fell. I'm going to make my way over to the hospital area. I'm going to look in the hyperbaric chamber. Is there evidence of the dead guy in the hyperbaric chamber? 92, so that'd be a 42. 42. Yes. All of the body part evidence is still there. Like it's, and I've got my vac suit on, so I can't really smell it, but I just imagine how putrid the smell is in this area. Like there's no way in the world people would convince me to stay here and sleep in these beds because it is just gore and it's just disgusting. So I'm going to go ahead and make a sanity check for that because it's a lot. Oh, failed again. Dang it. I'm getting stressed out again. All right. I am going to do a search inside the hospital, though. I'm going to try to remove myself from the gore. And I'm going to search through the supplies and see if there's any like healing accoutrement that I can find here inside the hospital. All right, so I'm going to do a little search for some medical equipment here. Do I find any... First, I want to search for just medical equipment in general. Do I find any first aid or stim packs? 9. That's going to be a no. So as I'm searching through all of the stuff inside here, I just can't like get my mind or my eyes off of that dead body in the hyperbaric chamber. So yeah, I'm just going to leave off searching, and I'm going to make my way towards the Fontanelle area. Okay, I'm going to make my way over to the Fontanelle now, and I rolled 3 D100s to see what I see as I approach the Fontanelle in the darkness. So the first one I rolled was an 85, which would be a 35. So the first thing I see is simulated reality illusion replacement. So around the Fontanelle, there is a feeling of disembodiment, like I'm seeing myself as I walk up to the Fontanelle, and I can almost see myself, looking around with my flashlight, like I'm a third person floating up in the corner of the room, looking down on myself. And this feeling of disembodiment is probably from fungal spores that have like infiltrated my vac suit filter, but I think I am not suffering the effects nearly as badly as the previous lamplighter. But I am going to go ahead and roll a sanity save regardless to see if I can overcome that feeling of disembodiment. So I have to roll a sanity, just straight 35. Ooh, that's rough. Okay, rolled 18. Great. Okay. Whew. All right. So I was able to keep it together and realize that, okay, that's not real. I'm probably suffering the effects from the hallucinogen in the fungal spores, more than likely. All right. So the next thing I notice is a 55, which would be a 5. There's a tight gap possibility proximity. As I get close to the moon pool and I look down in the water, I can see there's, instead of just being empty ocean underneath there, there's little caves and things burrowed into the sides of the rock. As the moon pool goes down, there's little cliff faces that I can see in the water that are probably home to some critters. Let's be real. Okay, and then the last thing that I see is a 67, which would be a 17. I do note that it is quite a bit cooler in this area. Luckily, my vac suit is protecting me, but I do have a reading in my vac suit that the surrounding temperature is quite a bit lower here around the moon pool. So as I'm kind of like gazing down into the moon pool, let's see, does an earthquake occur? 86, which would be a 36, which is going to be a positive. I'm almost positive. Yep. Yes. So as I'm looking down into the pool, suddenly the whole facility begins to shake and shiver and groan under the shaking of this earthquake. You can hear the metal creaking and just trying its hardest to stay in its current position. And at the same time, there's just a massive feeling of shifting and my feet begin to lose my balance. And so I'm going to try to make a speed check to see if I can keep my balance or if I fall into the moon pool. This is a big one. So I'm going to use my 0G and my speed for a 50. Let's see. Oh, dang. So despite my efforts, I tip forward and fall headfirst into the moon pool. And that's going to give me another stress up to 11. So now I am, due to the weight of my zero-G suit, I'm desperately trying to stay above water, and I'm thrashing in the water and thrashing, trying to push myself above the water, and it's taking a tremendous amount of effort to stay afloat. And I'm going to use my crowbar, and I'm going to sling it out and try to hook it on the edge of the moon pool and try to like pull myself towards the edge. So I'm going to do either a speed check or a strength check. I'm thinking probably strength, really. So I'll do a strength check. I'll go ahead and use my 0G to give myself a little bit of a booster. 46 is what I have to beat. 46. Oh no, I fail again. So now I'm up to 12 stress, and I am able to hook the edge of the moon pool, and I give myself a heave, but the crowbar unfortunately slips off of the edge of the moon pool and falls down into the depths of the ocean. I am able to use that momentum to grab a hold of the edge of the moon pool. So now I'm still in the water, and I'm floating there on the edge, just desperately holding on to the edge of that moon pool. And my crowbar, unfortunately, has been lost to the depths of the ocean. I no longer have this crowbar. There we go. Alright, so crowbar is lost. I am in the moon pool. Is my thrashing attracting the notice of any creatures that might live in these caves around the moon pool? 10. What's a 10? God, please. Compressor size. Okay, so I don't. The thrashing isn't drawing the attention of any creatures. However, the exertion and everything is really starting to take its toll on me, as far as the necrosis of, or what was it called, where you start breathing too much nitrogen. It's really starting to have its effect on me, and what's it called? Narcosis. Yeah, nitrogen narcosis. So it's really starting to have its effect on me, and if I don't get out soon, I'm going to panic. So I'm going to make another strength check to try to pull myself up out of the water, out of that moon pool. So I'm going to roll a D100, and I have to get a strength check of a 46. 46, excuse me. Come on. Yes! Oh, thank God. All right. Through a tremendous amount of effort, I pull myself up out of the moon pool, and I flop down on my belly outside of that pool, and I just lay there gasping and panting, trying to regain my composure before I make my way further into the environment. And all of that heavy breathing and exertion used up another hour's worth of my O2. So now I'm down to 7 hours of O2 in my back suit. All right. So now that I have safely moved myself into a position where I'm not going to die, hopefully, I am here outside of the fontanelle. I'm going to make my way over here to the safe storage and maintenance of the tunnel boring machine. So I'm going to do a little investigation here of see if there's somewhere I can lay down and just rest for a few minutes in this area. So I'm going to do I'll do a couple of checks. I got a 7 and a 63, a 7 and a 63. So a 13 is, I found a little living quarters, like a little cot that mechanics probably use to lay and rest at during their work in the night shift or something. There's a little place you can lay down. And then a 3 A 7 is explosion risk, deconstruction volatility. Oh, perfect. I know what this is. I found some oxygen tanks that they can also use to refill their vac suits. So I'm going to go ahead and go to first. I'm going to interact with those gas canisters, and I'm going to top off my vac suit. Now, normally you would have the power would have to be on for these pumps, but I'm just going to manually pump it, and I'm going to roll a d6, and I'm going to, however much d6 I get is going to be how many hours I can restore to my suit before I get tired of pumping the pump. So I got two hours of pumping, not 2 hours of pumping, but 2 hours of gas from doing the manual pump on the thing. And depending on what happens when I turn the power on, I may or may not want to do anything there. Now, I assume, maybe wrongly, that the air is okay to breathe here. But I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go lay down for an hour, and I'm going to do 2 rest checks and see if I can decrease my stress a little bit by resting. So just as a reminder, I must make a rest save using my worst save. And then however much, oh, I did that wrong the first time, looks like. But that's okay. If I succeed, I reduce my stress by the ones digit roll. No, I did that right. I think I remember doing that. I don't remember. Okay, we'll see. So if you roll 24 under your worst save of 30, reduce your stress by 4. Okay, I think I did that right. We'll see. I will have to roll 2 d10s for this one so I can see the dice rolls. All right, so I have to roll under my worst save, which is a body save. So I have to roll under a 31. So let's roll. I get 2 rolls because I'm resting. No, I'm just rolling for an hour. So, okay. So I failed. So I don't relieve any stress, but I do get to rest a little bit. So I spent 1 hour of my oxygen resting in the bed. Okay. I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to do a little search here in this area for some gear. Do I find any gear, whether that is ammo, tools, anything like that? I'm going to do general first. Do I find any usable gear? I'm just going to looking for a yes or no. 38 is probably going to be a yes. Yes. Medical support. Oh, yeah. So I find, when I'm doing a search, I find a stim pack. So I'm going to write down stim pack here. And what does the stim pack do for me? I'm going to look it up right quick. Let's see. Cures Cairo sickness, reduces stress by 1, restores 1d10 health, and grants advantage to all rows for 1d10 minutes. Okay. Ah. Can't use a lot of them. But I am going to keep it. I'm going to use it if an emergency happens. I'm going to keep that thing. And that's a great find. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So let's take a look at the saw thing. What was the name of that thing? Saw spot. Where's the saw spot? One of the tunnel boring machines, TBMs, nicknamed SawSpot, has malfunctioned and is intermittently active. Reports indicate that it has transitioned between sections via the cargo doors, and as such, its current whereabouts are unknown. When the surrounding section is powered, the TBM is also powered via inductive charge, and the SawSpot's tunnel boring blades and navigation system will operate unpredictably. Due to the massive inductive charge, personnel in close proximity to SawSpot, while it's operational, may be thrown back. The TBM represents a significant risk to personnel health and TEL-022 structural integrity. An onboard factory reset switch is known to exist, but its location is unknown. Holy smokes, 1D100 if it hits you. Okay. It is charged, so attempts to get within touching distance of the machine. So it is sitting in the room in here. Or let's see, is it sitting in the room in here? Let's roll. Let's see. 5. So I think that's a no. No. But you can see the tunnel where it recently went through. I could go down that tunnel, but heck no, I'm not. I am not interested in that. No spank you. No spank you. Before we forget, let's go ahead and add to our incident thing here, the fall into the pool. Uh-oh, we already have a fall. This is different. This is a fall downstairs. We have to see if we rolled the same number. And then the other incident, oh, we took damage from that motor that fell out of the, motor fell on leg. Fell out of that locker. All right, so let's roll 2 d10s. The first one is for, so I got a 6 and a 3. I need a 6 and a 3. So here's the 3, and here's the 6. Okay. All right. Wow. Getting lots of incidents. Lots of incidents. Okay, so I guess we're going to turn the power back on now. And so I'm going to go ahead and roll one more time, D100. 95, for Christ's sake. All right, so I failed in the restarting of the, now I'm up to 13 panic. It did, whoops, it did restart the power, but it took me an hour to get it restarted. So I'm back down to 7 oxygen. Now that the power is on, however, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to walk back over to the air tanks, and I'm going to get hooked up, and I'm going to repressurize my vac suit tanks. And whenever I do that, Ari comes online, and he says,
"What are you doing, Devon?"
"I am refilling my gas, my oxygen." And then Ari responds with,
"You are stealing from the company."
"You can take it out of whatever I get paid, if I get paid for this worst job I've ever had in my life."
"You will now be prosecuted."
I start looking around when he says that. I start looking around like furiously, like trying to see if like he's sending some like menacing robots or something to me. And let's see what happens when he says that. A hazmat suit emergency contamination. So all of a sudden, the pressure in this in the gas pressurization, it starts like it like cranks up to the max. Like it's really starting to try to overfill my tanks and cause an explosion. And so I have to move quickly, or my vac suit will be damaged irreparably, and possibly explode and kill or harm me in a very bad way. So let's do a speed check and see with my 0G as a boost to see if I can get away from this incident. Oh, 67. So Ari turned up the tank, trying to fill up as fast as possible, and I'm desperately trying to do the disconnect, and I yank on the hose as hard as I can to see if I can just strip it off and disconnect it, and I do. However, so I keep it from exploding, but also I lose 2 more hours of oxygen before I can get the valve sealed back off. In fact, let's go ahead and do, let's go ahead and, yeah, let's just do a 2 hours. Well, I better roll for it so I don't cheat myself. Let's do a 1d3. Yeah, got a 2. Good. All right, so we'll do 2 hours. So I'm down to 5 hours of oxygen now. And also, I gained distress from that. I'm up to 14 stress. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our panic check. D20. I have to roll above a 14. 2. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's see what a 2 is. Mild euphoria. I get advantage for 2d10 minutes. That's not bad. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Okay, well, that's okay. That's good actually. I can get advantage for 2d10 minutes, so let's roll a d10. So 16 minutes. So for 16 minutes I've got euphoria. Alright, well, I'm just gonna flip off the the nearest speaker, and then Ari says,
Don't do that, Devon.
and then I open the section door and I move into the next section. Section 5. The crest. It is strictly forbidden to disseminate any information pertaining to objects or behavior observed within Section 5 outside of the name of the company is torn off. Failure to something result in blah blah blah. So yeah, this is bad. This is bad. I can't even see the map. So let's hear what the previous lamplighter had to say about Section 5. And obviously, this guy is in a bad way, so he's gonna be raving mad, I think, in this.
Section 5A.
Why am I here? Why me? This place is flooded. The water's above my knees. What are these? Stalagmites. They're everywhere. Going all the way up out of the water. Pale. So pale. Fingers in tight. Feels like I'm in a cave. No. It's a maze. My flashlight's starting to go.
Section 5A.
Wait. This is a fucking body cam. It's been recording the whole time. Who are you? Do you hear me? What is this? Is this a game? Is this a fucking game? Yeah, sure, I'll play your game. Just walk into another mess. Risk my neck just to record a pointless report. People are dying. Maybe I could do something good.
Section 5A.
Sweet music. Sweet music.
Section 5B.
How long it's been. I've lived a lifetime amongst those bones. Sometimes I can't hear my thoughts. Just the bones twitching, singing. I am a ragged claw of the ocean floor, and my remaining skin wants to move.
Section 5B.
Robert, Junior. I'm so scared I'll forget your faces. Dad. Dad, I'm here. My son. I thought I'd never see you again. You can walk. You can walk. Don't cry. You see the glow? It's waiting through there. The casing. We'll go together. You feel it? I feel it. I feel the deep.
Wow, that was intense. Whew. Okay, so we know there's stalagmites, stalactites, um, everywhere. So we know there are stalagmites that look like a maze in front of us, and he noticed that there's a body cam on his suit. So I'm gonna start searching around now with my flashlight. I'm looking around at my chest, at my arms. I'm just looking everywhere to see if I can see. Obviously, I can't take the helmet off, or I could, but I'm not going to take the helmet off and see if there is a camera. If I notice a camera on my suit. So I got a 7. So I do not notice a camera on my suit. Oh, I forgot to roll panic. I'll just roll it right now. Oh no, I did roll panic because I got the euphoria. So 7 on the Oracle says I do not see a body cam on my suit. I feel a little bit of relief, but I still don't know for sure. Like it could be somewhere in my helmet. I just don't see it. I don't know. There's no way to know. I am going to now roll on the Oracle. We'll do 3 rolls like we did before and see what we see inside of the maze of stalagmites. I'm going to roll 3. I got a 52, a 75, and an 87. So I've got a 2, a 25, and a 37. So I haven't rolled a single critical this whole time, like a fail or an 88 earlier, but that wasn't on a roll. That was on just an Oracle check. All right, so let's take a look. First, we'll do a 2. So there's a magnetic. Like as I get closer to some of these stalagmites, I can tell they have a magnetic feel. Like it tries to pull the metal of my suit towards the stalagmites, and it's it's difficult. Like if I get too close, I feel like it's just gonna suck me onto it, and I won't be able to get lit free. So I'm trying to steer clear of these stalactites the best that I can. Stalagmites. Also got a 25, which is classified material. Oh, so I find a secret. Probably whatever this secret that was referenced at the very beginning. You know, it said that there was a secret, got a secret. Where was it? At the very beginning of the manual, it said that there is something secret in this facility. A high-value asset is situated in TL022 and outlined in your non-disclosure agreements, forbidden to discuss this asset or the circumstances of its containment with anyone unless permitted by your Hazmos security coordinator. Do not interact with a high-value asset. I'm going to have to give that some thought as to what that is. Let's look and see what the last thing is that we noticed while we're searching the stalagmites, which is a 37. And it is a storage. So as we're making our way through the stalagmites, inset in the wall of the crown, which is the name of this chamber, is a large set of storage boxes. There's those kinds of boxes like you see in a package delivery thing, where each little lockbox is like a key element that you can open and close, and one of them has a big classified stamp on it, and it has more than one lock on it. Like, it's double locked to help facilitate the secrecy of this high value asset, presumably. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start trying some of these doors and see if I can find one that is unlocked. So do I find one that is unlocked? No. All right, 49. Yes. One of them is unlocked, and when I open it, it is filled with this ultraviolet emitting fungi. Like, it is overgrown with this stuff, and whenever I open it, unfortunately, it puffs right in my face. And now I'm going to have to make a save against these fungal spores that have now exploded into my face here. So 50% chance that it will reduce stress by 1d5, 50% chance that it will give me a hallucination. All right, so I'm going to roll a d100, and if it is above 50, it's a hallucination. It is below 50, it is stress reduction. And if it's 50 exactly, it's neither. How about that? This is an arbitrary thing that I'm deciding on my own. 58. Okay, so it is going to be an hallucination. So let's look at the panic chart. What is the hallucination? And I think that's what the other guy had, even when he thought he's seen his son there. And the next time you consult the semiotic standard will result in prophetic visions, requires a fear save, or gain 1d10 stress. Oh, shoot, at disadvantage too. All right, so I have to do it the next time I consult the thing. Okay, so I'm going to consult the standard right now, actually, because I was just about to see if I could. I don't have my crowbar anymore. I was going to pry open that secret box. All right, so I'm going to try to find my way through this maze of stalactites to the end of the maze there. While I am doing so, do I encounter any creatures in this murky water that I'm walking through? Oh, a 9. No, but I do encounter a confusing hallucination where I'm seeing both the entrance and then I see the exit, and I see the entrance and then I see the exit, and then I think I see a person, and I'm getting very confused and disoriented, and fear starts to rise in my throat. And so I'm going to make a fear save at disadvantage. And I failed. So now I've taken another stress, which is now up to 15. And due to that fear building up in me, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have my revolver ready. And I'm going to start trying to make my way through this maze. I'm going to roll an intellect save. So I got a 44. My intellect I'm going to give myself rimwise to find myself through unfamiliar environments. That gives me a 51. So I saved. So I'm able to finally make my way through this maze of stalagmites, stalactites, and I come across the very last power generator. And I go to reach down with my flashlight and start it up whenever something jumps out from behind the generator and tries to attack me. It is, in fact, a rat. A good old-fashioned rat. So the rat's combat is pretty low, but Actually, it's not bad. It's 40. And it does 1d5. Has an instinct of 80. Hits 2, 10. So I'm guessing it's got 2 wounds, 10 hit points. It will make unnatural risks for sustenance. Pack attacks will work collaboratively with other rats. So it jumps out and it tries to attack me. So I'm going to roll for the rat attack. It has to get better than 40. It got a 56, so it fails in its attack. But it does startle me, so I'm going to do another fear save. A 51 fear, and I succeed. And I take hold of my fear and I gather myself. And I thought about just taking a shot at it, you know, like shooting my gun at this rat. But I'm scared that it's going to draw attention of like any additional creatures around. And so instead, I'm going to take one of my MREs and I'm going to open it up and throw it away from myself and away from the generator and see if it goes for that MRE. Does the rat go for the MRE? A 9. I think that's a no. 9, no. It hesitates. It's like sniffs up in the air and acts a little bit like it is. It doesn't know if it's going to go for the food or not. But then it decides it wants to scare me off, presumably, and it goes for another attack. It rolled a 46, which is still too high for its combat, so it failed in its attack, and it has left me no choice now of making an attack. So I used an MRE. Now I'm going to point my revolver at the rat, and I'm going to fire one of my rounds at the rat. Pow! And my combat is a 45. I give myself the rim-wise, which will be a 55. And I got a 17. The bullet hits the rat squarely in the body, and it kind of spins it around away from the power generator. But it is a little bit of a big boy. Let's roll a d10 and see how much damage it does. I get a 1d10 plus 1. I got a 5 plus 1 is a 6 damage. So now it is down to 4 hit points, and it still has 2 wounds. So does that damage scare the rat enough that it decides to leave, or does it pursue the attack? Well, I guess the question is, does the rat leave? The question is, the answer is no. It does not. It is drawn to the fire of my gun like a moth to flame. It's enraged in its pain and suffering that I have now caused it, and it leaps to attack me once again. And it rolls a good attack, 30, and now does 1d5 damage to me. So that's going to be a 1d10 minus 5. So 3. So it does 3 damage to me. So it lashes out and grabs hold of like the lower lip part of my leg and takes a bite. And unfortunately, my suit is damaged enough that the bite goes through the suit and inflicts damage onto my leg. So for 3 damage. So I'm now down to 11 health. I'm going to return the favor. I kick it off of me, and I point my revolver once again, and I fire. Pow! 29, that's a hit. I'm going to roll another 1d10 plus 1. Oh, 2 damage. So now it is down to 2 health. And does it run away? 28. Yes. It runs and hightails it back towards where the secret area storage was. And it enters the water and starts swimming, and then you can see that it's leaving a trail of blood behind it. And I'm not in the water now. I'm up near the power generator, but I see a crazy beast as I've never seen before, thrashing around. I can't quite make it out with my flashlight, but I see this huge creature just swallow the rat hole, and it lets out an ungodly squeak as it is ripped apart by this leviathan of the water. And I'm going to presume it is that gray lurk that we saw the entry for in the manual. A bulge-headed eel-like fish that's common to UBP 154 and adept at breaching just about any submerged structure, though it means for doing so are poorly understood. These creatures are carnivorous scavengers with needle-like teeth. Oh, look at this thing. Abnormalities have recently been observed in the gray lurk population. Sporadic growth formations are increasingly common, resembling hard, extracutaneous sinews of skeletal or cartilaginous matter. The cause is unknown. The gray lurk, oh my god, he completely obliterated that rat, and it smells the blood from me, and it turns its head toward me, and it starts making its way towards the platform that I'm sitting on. It can have up to 4 wounds. Wow, that's crazy. Rectilinear motion. A creature is able to launch itself out of the water and traverse solid ground using sidewinder movement. Oh my god! It's coming for me! Oh my god. I immediately point my gun at this gray lurk, and I take a shot. And I miss completely. So now, and also due to that, I'm going to get a little bit of more stress. And the gray lurk then is going to leap out of the water. And it's going to try to attack me with his snapping jaw. Combat is 55. It got a 73, thank goodness. So it's thrashing around on the ground with its bony protrusions. It's using them kind of as like, not legs as much as like little platforms for movement, right? It's using them to push off with, and it snaps at me, but it misses. I'm able to dodge out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and roll another attack. I have to get better than a 55. I miss again. I take a shot, but it's thrashing around so much that I have missed once again, and that increases my stress even more. It's going to go ahead and now try to attack me once again. It got a 62, which is more than its combat, so it failed as well. We're just missing each other all over the place. I'm going to take one more shot at it. There's nowhere for me to run really. Like if I run towards the water, it's going to get me. I have to somehow make it stop attacking me. Let's go ahead and roll one more attack. Oh my god, why am I rolling so bad? I shoot again and miss again. I'm getting very desperate now at this point. 18 stress. I'm getting super stressed out. It goes ahead and it attacks me as well. And of course, it succeeds in attacking me. It lashes onto my leg with its bony jaw and does a tremendous amount of damage. 4d5, which would be 4d10s divided by 2. So 11 divided by 2 will be a 5. I'm going to round down. Wow. It does a tremendous amount of damage. Now I'm bleeding. I'm down to 6 health before it, and I may take a wound here soon. I'm going to get my trench shovel here. Instead of firing my weapon at it, I'm going to use my trench shovel. I'm going to give it the same attack that my crowbar has, which is a 1d10. And I'm going to hit this thrashing creature with this trench shovel, which was I got this trench shovel from a friend of mine who was in the military, and we were having a poker game, and he had it as a memento, and the pot on the poker game was beyond what he had credits for, and he was like, "Oh, I'll pitch in this shovel," and I was like, "Oh, shovel ain't worth anything," and he's like, "Oh, come on, man," he talked me into it, and so he lost the hand, and I got his beloved trench shovel, so I kind of kept it as a memento for my memories of him. But I'm going to use the trench shovel now as an attack. Hopefully I get a better roll with that. No. I swing and I hit the eel, but it just bounces off his bony protrusions like it doesn't do anything to him at all. He is not dissuaded from attacking me, and I get yet another stress. I'm now up to 19 stress. If I get 20 stress, I'm going to have to make a panic check, and it's not going to be good. Okay, so now the fight is really getting out of control. He tries to attack me again, and he misses. And so the only thing I can do is attack, right? There's nowhere for me to run. There's nowhere for me to hide. This may be the end of Devon. Oh, finally, I take the shovel, and I use it like a golf club. I raise it up, and I swing the hardest that I can down low, and it contacts with the gray lurk and sends it sailing back out into the water. And now I'm going to make a speed save, and I do have my euphoria still, so I should have been using that all along for advantage. But actually, no, it's probably expired by now, so it probably took me longer than 16 minutes to search through all those stalagmites. So I'm going to go ahead and do an intellect mechanical repair, and we're going to try to start up this generator and get the heck out. And yes, I succeed. I flip the switch on the generator, the lights come on, and the gray lurk is swimming towards me furiously, but I open the door and I slam it shut, and now I have made it into the last caisson. I lay there panting from exertion and pain in my leg, and I decide to use my stim pack so that I can lower my panic and gain a little bit of health back. So I jam the stim pack into near my wound in my leg, and I inject it into myself, and it gives me 1d10 health and advantage for 1d10 minutes, and reduces stress by 1. So let's reduce my stress by 1. So I'm back down to 18. And the gray lurk got me. And what else? Let's go and add that to my chart. I need to roll my health 1d10 first, right quick. Yup. 1d10. That's 2. I mean, I'll take it, but that's sad. Let's get that up to an 8. And I gotta do my panic check for leaving that room. So we'll do a panic check. Okay. 96. So, no, that's good actually, right? No, that's bad because I have to get underneath my save. So yeah, I panic. What am I doing? No, I rolled the wrong thing. Good. All right, so I have to do my panic save. Sorry. I have to do my panic save here, which is a 9, which is lower than my panic score of 18. And so I have to check I'm like forgetting all my stuff here. I have to check my score here. A 9 is fits of laughter. So I'm just laying there, just madly, just laughing and laughing and laughing, just thinking about all the crazy stuff I saw, and I just can't even hardly move because I'm just sitting there laughing for 3d10 minutes. 3d10 minutes. 21 minutes I lay there and just laugh and laugh and laugh. And so now let's go to our chart here, and we know that I had a gray lurk attack and a rat attack. Anything else happened to me? Let's roll 2d10s and see where these things fall on my chart. So I got a 3 and a 6. Uh-oh, I think I already have a 3 and a 6. Yes, I have a 3 and I have both. So where the motor fell on my leg, it just happens to be, oops, this is 6. Just happens to be where the gray lurk attacked, and so now I'm in a tremendous amount of pain. And so I'm going to take disadvantage anytime I have to move. I'm going to be disadvantaged. Right now, actually, that's not that great because I already get disadvantaged. So let's say anytime I move, I have to make a speed check. No, I have to make a body save every time I move. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Every time I move, I have to take a body save or I get stress, basically. Okay, and then for the rat attack, that's where I fell in the pool. So, what are the repercussions of that? I fell in the pool, and the rat attack is getting to keep it from getting infected. So, let's see if we get an infection from where the rat attack got me in, though it's seawater is now. And that disgusting seawater is in my wound. So let's do a body check right quick. And I failed. So now I've gotten an infection of some sort. So I'm going to go ahead and say with my infection, it gives me 1 wound. I have an infection. So I now have an infection. I only have 5 hours worth of oxygen left. I'm here in the caisson. And I'm going to look around for the power so that I can turn on the power for this elevator. So I'm going to do 3 searches, 38, 10, and 79. 38. I do find some more medical support. So while I'm searching around, I find another stim pack. So I find that stim pack. I'm going to go ahead and take it, by God. Right? I mean, it reduces stress by another 1, gives me another 1d10 health, and grants advantage to all rolls for 1d10 minutes. So I laughed off the first one that I had. So for 21 minutes. Oh my gosh, I have to roll a 1d10, and if I roll under the amount of doses I've taken in the past 24 hours, make a death save. Ooh. I have to roll if I roll a 1, then if I roll a 1d10 and roll a 1, I have to make a death save. Not worth it. I'm just going to keep it. I'm just going to keep that stim pack. All right, what is the other things I found? 10 and 79. So 29. I hear a noise. So in between my fits of laughter, I hear like some movement in the room with me. And so I start looking around, and I see something that I don't expect to see, not in a million years. I see the previous lamplighter, and his suit is in rags, like he has been here a while. He's extremely emaciated. His skin has weird bony protrusions like some of those other people we saw. He looks like he probably hasn't eaten. I don't know what he's been eating. There's some dead rat carcasses laying around, so maybe he's been eating rats. And he does have his revolver still in his hand. And he's just kind of like mumbling to himself as he's walking over towards me. And I just say, hey, are you okay? And he answers, I'm okay, but the deep is in me. The deep is all around me. I can't get out. And I say, we can get out together. Just put the gun down. Don't worry. We're going to get out of here. I have some food. I have this stim pack. I can give it to you. We can help. I can help you. We can escape together. We can get out of here. Does he lower his gun? No. He does not lower his gun, and he starts to get closer to me. I have to get out to the deep. I must go in the deep. And he starts stumbling towards me and the door. And so I warn him, and I raise my gun, and I say, get back. Get back. I don't want to have to hurt you. I want to help you. Please, stand back. Please, sir, please, stand back. Does he stop? 11. No. He's obviously sick, out of his mind, and he stumbles ever closer and ever closer. He's not trying to be aggressive with his gun at this point. So now I have to make a decision. Do I attack him? No, I don't. I open the door back to the crown. And when I do, the gray lurk leaps onto the former lamplighter and begins attacking him. And he succeeds. He begins ripping into the man's stomach, just like, oh, and the man lets out an ungodly roar and starts wildly firing his gun. He fires once, fires twice, both times miss, and he drops the pistol and he starts just beating at this gray lurk with his hands. And it's the most horrific thing I've ever seen. And I'm going to make a fear save. I am going to roll, and I got a 60, which means I did not save. So my stress is back up to 19. I'm going to run over to the power generator. I'm going to fire it up. I succeed. I fire it up, and I jump into the caisson. And as the elevator begins to go up, I see the gray lurk just rip into this man. And he finally stops thrashing just as the elevator passes out of sight so that I can no longer see what's happening below. I hear him say, "The deep." I arrive at the top of the caisson. Exhausted, hurt, wounded, unbelieving of what has just happened, ashamed of myself for what I've just done, but happy that I'm still alive. Now that I'm on the surface, the wind and the rain buffet me as I stand at the top of the platform. I'm hurt, I'm alone, I'm half mad, but I made it. I'm alive. I'm gonna call the ship to come back and get me. The Palmarine class craft comes back and lands on the podium at the top of the caisson, and I wearily make my way back into the aircraft. And when I get in, the pilot is like, "Jesus Christ, what happened to you?" And I just say, "Too much." I don't say anything else. He just kind of looks at me for a minute, and he closes the door back to the passenger bay, and we take off, and he sends me back up to the awaiting station orbiting the planet, where I report back to Hazmos that the job is done. Now, I don't see anywhere in here where if you succeed, if you survive, what is the payment for this job? Like, I presume if you live, you should get paid. I do know that I have to get some medical treatment for both my infection and for I have to be checked for parasites, apparently. That was one of the things. I did make it out with some of my stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of research to see what the payment might be. Okay, I did a little bit of research, and this is what I've decided on my contract with Hazmos from the contract that we had to relight TEL-022. So the base contract rate for a lone lamplighter is 12,000 credits. They gave me 6,000 credits for hazard pay, biohazard uncontained entity report filed. That was from the gray lurks and the giant crabs. The infection bonus, a class 2 biocontainment contact, is 2,000 credits. Suit damage reimbursement for a Hazmos Mark III vac suit, 1,800 credits. Power restoration bonus for full grid online, 4,000 credits. And a psychological exposure compensation for unusual phenomena logged, all the hallucinations and whatnot, I guess, 3,500 credits. So that gave me a total of 29,300 credits, which I think is fair. And they reimbursed me for my suit, so I'm just going to go ahead and get a new suit there. That'll be 3. We will say that they paid to treat my infection, and I now have, what was it, 29,300. So that's, and I had 110, so 29,410 credits. So that should be good. Actually, how much is it to treat an infection? I don't know. Let's see. I guess a wound technically isn't an infection. I mean, I marked it as a wound. We'll just say, yeah, well, a week-long treatment in the pod restores wound. Does not restore lost limbs or digits. 6,000 credits. So I'll just go ahead and pay that out of this amount. That's 6,000. So we will say that I'm now 6,000 lower. That puts me down to 23,410. Now, Devon, I don't think will be going back to work for Hazmos, but what we'll do is we'll check a job board and see what we can find. It may be another Hazmos job, who knows? But I'm not going to make a decision just yet. We'll see what happens. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure and hit that like button. And stay tuned for more Mothership solo play.